Chapter 195. A helicopter landed on the helipad on the roof of Tianxi Hospital's main building. Shinta Tianfeng and Shintu Yi, as well as two burly bodyguards, jumped down from the helicopter and quickly rushed to the staircase. The father and son duo couldn't hide their excitement and joy, but there was also a lot of anxiety on their faces. Fu Chuanfu is coming soon. He's going by water. We must move the corpse away before he does. Shintu Yi said. Shinta Tianfeng nodded, then turned around and said to the two bodyguards who were following closely behind, "When we see the corpses of Shinta Tianin and that brat later, don't worry about anything else. Just bring them to the helicopter." The two bodyguards said in unison, "Understood." Shinta Tianfeng laughed out loud. The helicopter malfunctioned at sea, and the chairman of the Wanxiang group, Shinta Tianin, sank into the sea. I think that the major news media will definitely write this tomorrow, right? Shintu Yi could not hide the excitement in his heart. That little bitch is finally dead. This is great. The Wanxiang group is ours. Shinta Tianfeng quickened his pace. Dad, the police will definitely investigate. Have you thought how to deal with it? Shintu Yi coldly snorted. Investigation? I don't know anything. Even if they suspect us, where's the evidence? Without a corpse, how can a police investigate? Don't worry, I'll take care of this. Furthermore, the old man is willing to make sacrifices for the Shinta family. If we take a step back and look at this matter, the old man will shoulder the responsibility. The current law will not sentence a 70-year-old man to death. He will just have to change a place to retire. Ha ha ha. Shinta Tianfeng was so happy that he couldn't help but laugh again. In China's current laws, it was true that an old man in his 70s would not be sentenced to death. Even if he was guilty, it would be a light sentence. With Shintu Weiye as the last piece of gold to avoid death, the cost of the crime was almost negligible. Yet, he had seized the Wanxiang group. How could such a thing not make him happy? Before they could even approach the morgue, Wang Feng rushed over with Shintu Weiye, supporting her. The four of them met in the corridor, their eyes filled with excitement and joy. That little bitch and that kid's corpses are in the morgue. I saw them with my own eyes. They were beaten into sieves. It's a horrible sight. Wang Feng couldn't help but say, "She deserves it." Shintu Yi did not have the slightest bit of pity in his heart. Shintu Weiye sighed. Don't say any more. She's still of the Shintu family's bloodline. If she leaves just like that, leave her with some dignity. Shinta Tianfeng then said, Dad, Mom, stop talking. This is not the place to talk. Be careful that the walls have ears. Let's go take a look at the morgue. For people from the Shintu family and two burly bodyguards quickly arrived at the entrance of the morgue. There were quite a few people standing at the door, including Jin Jinwan. A hotel security guard said, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Shintu Yi said aggressively, "I am Shinta Tianin's second uncle, and this is his grandfather. Get out of my way." Hearing that they were Shintu Tianin's second uncle and grandfather, the security guards didn't dare to block the way and retreated to the side. Jin Jinwan blocked the door. "You get out of my way too," Shintu Yi said angrily. Jin Jinwan said, "Butler Fu said that we have to wait for him to come." Before Jin Jinwan could finish, Shintu Yi said, "What bullshit, Butler? I'll fire him right now. And you're fired too. Get lost." Without waiting for Jin Jinwan to say anything, the two burly bodyguards immediately grabbed Jin Jinwan's arms and brutally pushed him to the side. Seeing this scene, the people from the hospital, led by Director Zhang, didn't even dare to say a word. Shinta Yi pushed the door open, and Wang Feng and Shinta Tianfeng supported Shinta Weiye into the morgue. The two bodyguards followed them in and closed the door. Jin Binghuan walked to a corner and took out his phone to make a call. In the morgue, two mortuaries were parked side by side in the middle of the morgue. The cold air was blowing, giving people a bone-chilling and eerie feeling. Both mortuaries were covered with white bed sheets, and the people lying inside could not be seen. However, the physical characteristics of a woman and a man were still very obvious. Shintu Tianin's chest was obvious under the bedsheet. Wang Feng walked up and lifted the bedsheet on Shintu Tianin's body, revealing her face and upper body. Then, she lifted the bedsheet on Charlotte's body, revealing Charlotte's face and upper body. Charlotte and Shinto Tianin's bodies were covered in blood. The blood had dried up and turned dark red. There were several bullet holes in their chests. From the location of the bullet holes, their lungs and hearts had been shot. Such injuries made people believe that they had died a long time ago. Tianin, why didn't you hand over the Wanxiang Corporation? You're a woman. You'll get married sooner or later. Supporting your husband and raising your children is what you should do. Shinto Weiye shook his head and sighed. If you had handed over the Wanxiang Corporation, how would you have ended up like this? Forget it. You're already gone. Grandfather doesn't want to talk about it anymore. I forgive you for the mistakes you made. You can rest in peace on your way. Your second uncle will take good care of your father. You don't have to worry. Don't blame your second uncle and Tianfeng. They're doing this for the good of our Shinto family. Old man, you're too kind, Wang Fong said. Shinto Tianfeng walked to Shinto Tianin's side. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Tianin, don't blame me for being ruthless. It's all because of you. Originally, I didn't have anything to say to you, but now that you're gone, as your brother, I should say goodbye to you. Don't you like the sea? Brother will fulfill your wish. Let the sea be the best home for you. After saying that, he waved his hand. The two bodyguards that accompanied him walked over and covered Shinto Tianin and Charlotte with bedsheets, then pushed the two mortuaries towards the door. Shintui followed and opened the door. Principal Zhang, who was guarding the door, became anxious. Where are you taking the corpse to? Shinto Weiye said. She's a member of my Shinto family. Fallen leaves have to return to their roots, so of course she has to return home. Principal Zhang looked like he was in a difficult position. She died here, and it's still early in the morning. The police haven't even sent anyone over to investigate. How can you take the corpse away? How about this? We'll take it away tomorrow after the police investigate. What does it have to do with you? Shinto Tianfeng glared at Principal Zhang. If I bring my sister home, the police can still come to my house to investigate. All of you, get out of my way. Principal Zhang was still blocking the door. Shinto Weiye smashed his walking stick over. You bastard, get out of my way. Otherwise, I'll smash my head against you. These words were more effective than anything else. There was no need for the bodyguards that Shinto Tianfeng brought to make a move. Principal Zhang and a few people from the hospital moved out of the way. Take Tianin back. Leave this to me, Shinto Weiye said. Let's go. Shinto Tianfeng didn't want to waste even a minute. But at this moment, a voice suddenly came from a mortuary. Where are you taking me? Who's talking? Shinto Tianfeng did not notice that the voice came from a mortuary. The bodyguard who was pushing Charlotte pointed at the mortuary in front of him with a pale face. Yes. Are you stupid? Shinto Tianfeng said angrily. How can a dead person speak? Hurry up and push it away. But at this moment, another voice came from under the white bed sheets. Young Master Tianfeng, are you trying to push me into the sea to feed the fish? You're so heartless. Not only did you kill me, you even wanted to feed me to the fish. Even if I were in the underworld, I would still settle the score with you. Every word was clear. Shinto Tianfeng heard it clearly, but there was no longer any trace of blood on his handsome face. Shun Tuyi and Wang Fong were also scared out of their wits. They were stunned and speechless. However, Shinto Weiye was the boldest. He poked Charlotte with his walking stick to test Charlotte's condition. Charlotte grabbed his walking stick, then lifted the bed sheet covering his body and sat up. He suddenly stuck out his tongue at Shinto Weiye. Ah, dash! Shinto Weiye was so scared that he staggered and fell to the ground. Charlotte raised his other hand, which was holding a mobile phone. In the morgue, he had recorded the conversation between Shinto Tianfeng, Shinto Weiye, and Wang Fong. Shinto Tianfeng suddenly realized something, and his voice trembled. You're not dead. It's not just me. Charlotte reached out and pulled the bedsheet off Shinto Tianin. Shinto Tianin lay quietly on the morgue. Tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes, leaving two sparkling tear stains on her face. The four people from the Shinto family, including her own grandfather, did not shed a single tear when they saw her for the last time, nor did they say a word of apology. Instead, they were discussing how to destroy her corpse. How could such a matter not make her sad and shed tears? Seeing Shinta Tianyin silently crying, Shinta Yi and Wang Fong felt as if all the bones in their bodies had been sucked out, and they collapsed to the ground like soft mud. A dash! Shinta Tianfeng suddenly roared and pounced towards Shinta Tianyin like a madman. He had already lost all reason. In his heart, he was still thinking that as long as he killed Shinta Tianyin, he would still have a glimmer of hope. However, before he could touch Shinta Tianyin, Charlotte had already jumped up from the morgue and kicked Shinta Tianfeng in the face. Bang! Shinta Tianfeng fell face up to the ground. His nose was crooked, and his front teeth had fallen out. However, he did not seem to feel the slightest bit of pain. He roared, "I won't lose. I won't lose. This can't be real. This can't be real." Shinta Weiye crawled up from the ground and shakily walked to Shinta Tianyin's side. Suddenly, he sent a slap towards Shinta Tianyin. Shinta Tianyin grabbed Shinta Weiye's hand and looked at Shinta Weiye with teary eyes. "You slut. You actually set up such a trap to harm me and your second uncle's family." Shinta Weiye angrily said, "How can I? Shinta Weiye, I have a granddaughter like you. Why don't you die?" "Why, grandfather?" Shinta Tianyin sadly said, "This is the last time I'll call you grandfather. After this, I won't have a grandfather. I don't have a grandfather as cruel and merciless as you." Shinta Tianyin shook off Shinta Weiye's hand. She jumped off the morgue and walked to Charlotte. She looked at him and paused for a moment. Suddenly, she threw herself into his arms and cried loudly on his shoulder. Charlotte gently patted her back and comforted her gently. "Don't cry, don't cry. It's all in the past, all in the past. Believe me, tomorrow will be better." Shinta Weiye froze there. In that instant, he seemed to have aged 10 years. 2 helicopters flew over from the sky. One of them had a police logo, and the other had Fu Chuanfu, Park Taiji, and Park Henlai. However, what was left for them and the police was already very simple. This was like a plot in a movie. The police came to take away the bad guys who had been subdued, and the male and female protagonists hugged each other, and then the movie ended in a passionate kiss. The only thing missing was a passionate kiss that could move one's heart. Charlotte didn't do this because he knew very well that he was in reality, not in a movie. If the one crying in his arms was Liang Xiao, then he could do this. He could also. Chapter 196. The rising sun brought light and warmth to the world, and the island and the sea woke up in the golden morning light. Some people welcomed the light in such a morning, and some fell into the abyss of darkness in such a morning. Shinta Yi, Shinta Tianfeng, Wang Fong, and Shinta Weiye were all taken away by the police. The evidence was conclusive, and what awaited them was the punishment of the law. For Charlotte, he could finally relax after helping Shinta Tianyin solve her problem. He didn't have to pretend to be Shinta Tianyin's boyfriend or fiancé, and he wouldn't have to be asked by Liang Xiao if he had held hands or kissed Shinta Tianyin. The helicopter flew in the sky. The sky was blue above his head, and the sea was blue below his feet. Charlotte had a smile on his face. He was in a good mood. Shinta Tianyin didn't have a smile on her face. She looked at the sea and didn't say a word. Charlotte knew the reason why she was in a bad mood. He comforted her in a warm voice. "Tianyin, no one will harm you in the future. Uncle has also woken up. These are all good things. Don't think too much. Your second uncle's family, and you, are not worth your sadness." He didn't mention Shinta Weiye. He also felt that Shinta Weiye wasn't worthy of being Shinta Tianyin's grandfather. Shinta Tianyin forced a smile. "You don't have to comfort me. I'm not as weak as you think. I won't be sad for my second uncle's family and my grandfather. To me, they're no longer my family. I'm just a little lost." Charlotte patted her shoulder. "Don't think too much. Take a bath when you go back, and then have a good sleep. You'll be fine when you wake up. Some things can't be solved by sleeping." "What is it?" "You." Shinta Tianyin didn't continue. She smiled bitterly. "Forget it. You won't understand even if I tell you. Help me convey my gratitude to Miss Liang." Charlotte was slightly stunned. "Why are you thanking her?" Shinta Tianyin said, "I borrowed her boyfriend for so long. Shouldn't I express my gratitude to her?" Charlotte smiled. That's true. She's a woman who practices martial arts. In the old days, she's a woman of the pugilistic world. She's quite straightforward. Sometimes she acts like a boy. Shinta Tianyin didn't seem to want to hear these words of praise for Liang Xiao. She interrupted Charlotte and said, "Let me ask you something." "What?" "Me or Liang Xiao? Who is prettier?" Shinta Tianyin looked at Charlotte quietly, waiting for his answer. "This," Charlotte said awkwardly. "How can we compete? You're both beautiful." Shinta Tianyin's lips curled up slightly. Fingers have different lengths, and people have different heights. There is no one who is absolutely beautiful. Tell me, Liang Xiao and I are definitely not equally beautiful. Who is more beautiful? In fact, her question was missing a prefix. With this prefix, the whole question was, in your heart, who is more beautiful, me or Liang Xiao? Charlotte didn't think of this. He felt a little headache. Why must there be a winner? Shinta Tianyin rolled her eyes at him. I'm just curious. Tell me, when did you become so wishy-washy? Charlotte smiled bitterly. He thought for a moment before saying, You're prettier. Shinta Tianyin smiled. That smile was as bright and beautiful as 100 flowers blooming at the same time. However, in Charlotte's heart, Shinta Tianyin's appearance was indeed better than Liang Xiao's. But Liang Xiao's figure was also better than Shinta Tianyin's, especially her pair of long legs. Even if she were to be compared with Asia's #1 leg model, Lin Jieling, her legs would still be better than Lin Jieling's. It was just that he thought he was smart and didn't say such a standard answer out loud. In his pitifully small experience, it was never a wise thing to say to a girl's face that another girl had a better figure. As they chatted, the helicopter landed at the helicopter airport. Several police cars were already waiting at the airport. There were also many police officers and media reporters who rushed over after hearing the news. Shinta Yi, Shinta Tianfeng, Wang Feng, and Shinta Weiye were all detained. Among the four, only Shinta Weiye wasn't handcuffed. Shinta Yi's entire family was handcuffed. When Shinta Tianyin and Charlotte got off the helicopter, a large group of reporters surrounded them. Their SLR cameras were clicking nonstop. The people holding microphones and recording pens were also asking questions very quickly. Miss Shintu, we received news that you encountered an assassination attempt. Can we talk? A reporter asked. Miss Shintu, I saw your second uncle and Shinta Tianfeng in handcuffs. Could it be that someone from your Shinta family wanted to assassinate you? Miss Shintu, will this matter affect the power structure of the Wanxiang Group? Will you adjust the management structure of the Wanxiang Group? Miss Shinta, the large group of reporters didn't care that Shinta Tianyin didn't answer their questions. They only cared about asking questions. A few police officers came over to chase the reporters away. However, Shinta Tianyin indicated that there was no need. She said to the pile of microphones and recording pins in front of her, I did encounter an assassination attempt, but it's already over. My boyfriend, Charlotte, has already caught the culprit. As soon as this sentence came out, the large group of reporters immediately exploded. Miss Shintu, is your boyfriend the gentleman beside you? A reporter rushed to ask. Shinta Tianyin smiled and nodded. Yes. Then, she held Charlotte's hand in front of a large group of reporters. Charlotte's head was already swollen. What he wanted to do at this moment wasn't to accompany Shinta Tianyin to accept the media's interview. What he wanted to do the most was to dive into the sea. Shinta Tianyin had announced in front of a large group of reporters that he was her boyfriend. As a goddess that most men dreamed of marrying, the media would definitely report it without restraint. They might even add oil and vinegar. If this content was seen by Liang Xiao, what would she think? Mr. Charlotte, can you talk about how you caught the culprit? Mr. Charlotte, how did you and Miss Shinta get to know each other? Mr. Charlotte, how long have you and Miss Shinta been dating? Mr. Charlotte, when are you getting married? With a bunch of questions, Charlotte was stunned on the spot. He didn't know how to answer. However, Shinta Tianyin had a smile on his face. He was very happy to let the reporters take photos. At this moment, a man's voice was heard. Would the chairman of the Wanxiang Group date an unknown person? This isn't true, I know. A large group of reporters looked back, but a few bodyguards in suits and leather shoes had already pushed the reporters aside and made a path for them. Charlotte saw Gu Kawu, who was standing behind a large group of reporters, as well as Dong Wu and Qin Shi, who were standing behind Gu Kawu. Qin Shi looked normal and was still dressed in sportswear. Dong Wu had his arms crossed in front of his chest, and there was an antique sword in his arms. He looked like an old man who was doing morning exercises. Xiaolei didn't know why, but when he saw Gu Kawu at this time, coupled with what he said, he actually wanted to say a word of thanks to him. Gu Kawu held a bouquet of roses in both hands and walked slowly towards Shinta Tianyin. He had a charming smile on his face. Tianyin, I knew that you and Charlotte weren't real. You were luring those who wanted to harm you to attack you. Why did you ask Charlotte to help you? If you had told me, I could have helped you. Shinta Tianyin frowned. I don't know what you're talking about. I apologize. Please accept my apology. Gu Kawu held the roses in both hands and handed them to Shinta Tianyin. Shinta Tianyin didn't move. He just looked at Gu Kawu coldly. Isn't this Gu Kawu, the young master of the North Group? So that's how it is. He's Shinta Tianyin's boyfriend, isn't he? A reporter said. That must be the case. How could an unknown nobody be the boyfriend of the Wanxiang Group's chairman? He's not even qualified to be a spare tire. Their families don't match, a reporter said. Another reporter sighed. What kind of plot is this? The rich are so messy. It's almost like the entertainment industry. Let's go. Shinta Tianyin pulled Charlotte and left. Gu Kawu didn't stop them. The reason why he showed up was simple. He wanted to use the media to send a message to the outside world. Shinta Tianyin is mine. Charlotte stopped in front of Gu Kawu. Gu Kawu, my car. Gu Kawu smiled. Your car? Hee, I brought it for you. It's in the car park outside. You don't have to thank me. I just don't like your broken car. It's an eyesore. Without waiting for Charlotte to argue with Gu Kawu, Shinta Tianyin pulled Charlotte and walked out. Dong Wu and Qin Shi blocked Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin's way. Kid, when are we going to settle our scores? Dong Wu said coldly. Charlotte smiled. Anytime. The sword isn't bad. Don't use it to slash people next time. Just act cool. If you slash people, you'll get chipped. You. Dong Wu couldn't help but flare up. Qin Shi pulled Dong Wu back. He didn't say anything to Charlotte. He just looked at Charlotte coldly. Charlotte had a premonition that Shinta Tianyin's troubles weren't over yet. There were too many men who wanted her beauty, her wealth, and Gu Kawu was one of them. After leaving the helipad, Charlotte saw his BMW M6 on the roadside of the airport. It was no longer a car. It was a pile of scrap iron. The car was full of marks of being hit with a hammer. The roof had collapsed and was almost parallel to the steering wheel. The engine cover was gone, and the engine inside was cracked. The wheels of the four wheels were also deformed. There was no need to repair the car with such damage. At this time, Gu Kawu walked out of the helipad, surrounded by several bodyguards. He joked, Brother Xia, you can tell the insurance company that I smashed it. They'll probably pay for my sake. Ha! The insurance company wouldn't pay for man-made damage. You mother f*** cur. Xiaolei was furious as he strode towards Gu Kawu. Shinta Tianyin hurriedly grabbed Charlotte's hand and stopped him from going. He said, Don't go. He's deliberately provoking you. Charlotte's impulse was only temporary. Shinta Tianyin's words woke him up. If he took the initiative to make a move, there would be a lot of trouble for him regardless of whether he won or lost in such a situation. Forget it. It's just a car. Let's go. Charlotte said. Well. Shinta Tianyin walked to the parking lot. There, Fu Chuanfu was already waiting next to her Rolls-Royce Phantom. Gu Kawu said loudly, Tianyin, let's have lunch together. I owe you an apology. Give me a chance to explain. Shinta Tianyin suddenly turned around and flicked a middle finger at Gu Kawu. Charlotte was dumbfounded. In his mind, Shinta Tianyin was a noble and cold queen. But she actually did such a rude action. What's wrong with her? Gu Kawu just smiled and watched Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin get in the car. Qin Shi said gloomily, Young Master Wu, with this guy here, I don't think you can defeat Shinta Tianyin properly. Gu Kawu said lightly, so you know what to do. Qin Shi and Dong Wu looked at each other. They both had the same signal in their eyes. Dong Wu said, There's an opportunity in front of us. I asked someone to find out that Charlotte learned Wing Chun from Liang Zhengchun. He is Liang Zhengchuan's last disciple. The Wulian assembly will be held in 10 days. As long as you get an invitation from me and Qin Shi, we can help you vent your anger. Gu Kawu said, "Are you going to attack Liang Zhengchun?" Dong Wu said, "I guess that guy will also go." Qin Shi sneered and said, "Killing 2 birds with 1 stone." Gu Kawu smiled and said, "It's no big deal. I will provide you with everything you need." Chapter 197. The living room was quiet, and Charlotte closed the door behind him. Passing through the living room, he looked into the kitchen, but he didn't see anyone. But just as he was walking to the study, Liang Xiao came out of her room, wrapped in a bath towel. Her black hair was wet, and she was wiping the water off her hair with a towel. With half of her snow-white chest and 2/3 of her long legs, Liang Xiao, who had just taken a bath, exuded a mature and sexy aura. Xiaolei stared at her. He stared at the protrusion on her chest. He was stunned. "You?" Liang Xiao was stunned for a moment. "When did you come back?" Charlotte said with a smile. "I just came back." Liang Xiao saw Charlotte with his hand behind his back and smiled. "What are you hiding behind you?" Xiaolei put his hands in front of his face, and a bouquet of roses appeared in his hands, as if he was performing a magic trick. "Ah!" Liang Xiao cheered, and regardless of the slippers on her feet, she ran to Charlotte with her long legs, took the bouquet of roses, got into Charlotte's arms, and kissed his lips. This series of movements was done in one go. As expected of a descendant of Wing Chun, she was very agile. A bouquet of flowers could make her so happy, and Charlotte was also very happy. In fact, he didn't think of sending roses to win his girlfriend's favor. But when he saw Gu Kawu send flowers to Tianyin at the helicopter airport, he remembered that he had never sent flowers to Liang Xiao. Picking up girls was actually not complicated, and it was easy to learn. After kissing enough, feeling that Charlotte was going to be naughty, Liang Xiao let go of Charlotte. She sniffed the bouquet of roses, took out a pink card from the bouquet, and read the content on it. "To my dear Xiao, I wish you happiness every day. Love you, Lei." She looked at Charlotte with a smile. "I really didn't know you could write such romantic words. Don't you think it's mushy?" Charlotte's face was hot that. "I asked the florist to write it casually." Liang Xiao pouted. "Am I not your darling?" "Of course that. I read it. The florist wrote it." Charlotte didn't know how to explain. There was only a thin bath towel on Liang Xiao's body, and the exquisite curves and the hazy spring scenery made him feel nervous. "You're so good. Let's kiss again." Liang Xiao leaned over again, hugged Charlotte's waist, and kissed his lips. Charlotte was like a poor bundle of dry firewood that was lit and then extinguished, and then she lit it again. But this time, he didn't let Liang Xiao escape again. He hugged her waist tightly, and his tongue pried open her teeth, entangling with her lilac tongue. Liang Xiao struggled symbolically for a while before giving up. She allowed Xiaolei to taste the taste between her lips, and also, she had repeatedly teased Charlotte and lit him up, so she must have been prepared to draw fire to herself. Just when things were getting out of hand, the door suddenly opened. Liang Zhengchun walked in with a big bag of vegetables and suddenly saw his daughter and his disciple hugging each other, and his daughter was only wrapped in a bath towel. He quickly turned around and coughed awkwardly, ahem. Charlotte and Liang Xiao separated at almost the same time. Liang Xiao's face was red, and she said angrily, "Dad, why didn't you knock on the door?" Liang Zhengchun was stunned for a moment. "I have the key, and I'm entering my own house. Why would I knock on the door?" Charlotte hurriedly went up to help carry the vegetables. "Master, let me help you." Liang Zhengchun glared at Charlotte. "You guys I could tell a long time ago, but you guys just hid it from me and didn't tell me." Xiaolei didn't dare to talk back. He just smiled foolishly. Tianyin's troubles had been resolved, and there was no need for him to pretend to be her boyfriend anymore. He had also planned to tell Liang Zhengchun about his relationship with Liang Xiao tonight, but he did not expect Liang Zhengchun to see him and Liang Xiao being intimate, and this saved him the trouble of telling him. "Fine, I got it." Go and offer incense to your mistress, and tell her that this matter is settled. Liang Zhengchun was also a person who did not care about trifles. Okay, I'll go and offer incense to mistress now. Charlotte happily walked over to the portrait of Liang Xiao's mother in the living room. There was a small square table there, and there was a bronze incense burner on the table. Charlotte offered incense, and Liang Zhengchun glared at Liang Xiao again. Why are you still standing there? Go and change your clothes. You're already so old. Don't you know how to be shy? Liang Xiao did not leave, but raised her hand and pointed at Charlotte, who had his back to the father and daughter, and said in a low voice, I want to hear what he said to my mother. Charlotte held a lit incense and said in a low voice, Mistress, I like Xiao. I will take good care of her, don't worry. After saying that, he inserted the incense into the incense burner and then knelt on the praying mat and kowtowed. This was a simple sentence, but it was Charlotte's style, and it was also his promise. Liang Xiao's face was full of happiness. If Liang Zhengchun was not present, she was afraid that she would have lit the incense again. Liang Zhengchun's face also revealed a smile. In his heart, Charlotte was an honest, cute, kind, and loyal person. If Liang Xiao was with Charlotte, he was very relieved. And with Charlotte's conditions, he was definitely one in a million. He had the looks, and he had the ability. With a future son-in-law like this, what was there to be unhappy about? However, Liang Zhengchun only smiled, and then his face became serious again. Go change your clothes. How do you look like this? Liang Xiao stuck out her tongue at Liang Zhengchun and then happily went back to the room to change. Charlotte got up and carried a big bag of vegetables to the kitchen and said, Master, I will go cook. Liang Zhengchun smiled. You only know how to spoil her. Let Xiao do it. Charlotte smiled. It's fine. It's the same no matter who does it. Charlotte went into the kitchen, and Liang Zhengchun slowly walked to the portrait of Liang Xiao's mother. He also lit a stick of incense and said to himself, Don't worry. Lei Zi is a good person. Xiao is a lucky child. You must be protecting her. After the meal, Liang Zhengchun called Charlotte to the study, and the master and disciple practiced pushing hands for a while and then sat down to chat. Liang Xiao made 2 cups of tea and obediently stood behind Charlotte. Lei Zi, the Wulin assembly will be held soon. Have you thought about it? Do you want to go with me? Liang Zhengchun looked at Charlotte with eyes full of expectation. Where will the Wulin assembly be held? Charlotte asked. Liang Zhengchun said, Mount Amei. Mount Amei is a famous mountain in Shu, right? Charlotte had never been there, but he was very familiar with it. He said with a smile, I used to like to read martial arts novels, and many of them have a Mei sect. Liang Zhengchun said, Now, there is also a Mei sect, but it is not as exaggerated as in the novels. This Wulin assembly is organized by the Ministry of Culture, and it is not strange that the location is set in a famous mountain like Mount Amei. I heard that it was set in the Shaolin Temple of Mount Song, but their abbot recently had some problems, so it was changed to Mount Amei. Charlotte thought for a moment. Okay, I will go with Master. Anyway, Xiao will look after the company, and there is nothing for me to do. Liang Xiao curled up her small mouth. I want to go too. Liang Zhengchun glared at Liang Xiao. What are you going to do? Lei Zi and I will be back in a few days. And you are reluctant to let him leave for a few days? Liang Xiao's pretty face was slightly red, but she did not talk back, which was a tacit agreement. Liang Zhengchun said again, That's settled. Lei Zi, I will also report your name, so that you can go and broaden your horizons. Charlotte nodded. Well, there's still some time, and I can take care of the company. Liang Xiao leaned on Charlotte's shoulder. You haven't made those mechanical gloves for me yet. You and Dad both have them, but I don't. Charlotte said with a smile, I will make them for you tomorrow. Liang Zhengchun opened the drawer of the desk and took out the mechanical gloves that Charlotte made for him. He said with a smile, This kind of gloves is very suitable for our Wing Chun boxing, and it is also the best weapon I have ever seen. I must show my face at the Wulin assembly and let those people see it, haha. Liang Xiao joked, Dad, if people ask you who made it, how will you answer? Lei Zi. Liang Zhengchun looked at Liang Xiao with a puzzled look. What is this question? People don't know Lei Zi, and they will definitely ask, who is Lei Zi? Who is Lei Zi to you? Liang Zhengchun was about to say disciple, but he saw Liang Xiao winking at him, so he changed his words and laughed. If someone really asks me, I will say that he is my son-in-law, haha. Dad, Liang Xiao was not satisfied. Are you so eager for your daughter to get married? I didn't say that I will marry him, so how can I become your son-in-law? Liang Zhengchun, Charlotte was a little embarrassed, but it did not affect his good mood. He felt that if he really married Liang Xiao and became Liang Zhengchun's son-in-law, it would be a great thing, and there was nothing bad about it. I'm going back to the room to sleep. Liang Zhengchun did not want to chat with Liang Xiao anymore, so he put away the mechanical gloves and left. He did not want to stay and be a third wheel. There were only two people left in the study, Charlotte and Liang Xiao. There were a lot of topics just now, but after Liang Zhengchun left, the two became very quiet, looking at each other, and no one said a word. A few minutes later, Liang Xiao suddenly leaned over to Charlotte's neck, sniffed, and then frowned. You are sore. Go take a bath. Charlotte said, It's because of the cooking. I will go take a bath before I go to bed. It is still early. Rest early. I still have to go to the company early tomorrow morning. I'm going back to the room. Liang Xiao got up and left. Charlotte suddenly felt a little disappointed in his heart. He thought that Liang Xiao would chat with him in the study for a while, but he did not expect that she would go back to the room to sleep so early. Liang Xiao, who walked to the door of the study, stopped again, leaned against the door frame, and winked at Charlotte playfully. What's the matter? Charlotte asked curiously. Liang Xiao did not say anything, turned around, and left. Inexplicable, Charlotte said to himself. After sitting for a few minutes, he also felt bored, so he took a few medical books from the bookshelf and left the study. The lights in Liang Zhengchun's room had been turned off. Going to bed early and getting up early was a unique habit of his generation. The lights in Liang Xiao's room were also turned off, but Charlotte felt a little strange. Why did she sleep so early? But he did not think much about it and opened the door of his room. Wait! Charlotte suddenly turned around and looked at the door of Liang Xiao's room. The door of Liang Xiao's room was open a gap, and it was not a normal gap. It was a big gap that could almost allow a person to walk in sideways. The scene of Liang Xiao winking at him when she left the study suddenly appeared in Charlotte's mind, and then there was an excited smile on his face. No wonder she asked me to take a bath. Am I a pig? I didn't even think of this. Charlotte threw a few books in his room, then closed the door and tiptoed to Liang Xiao's door. Chapter 198. The room was dim, but it didn't affect Charlotte at all. The moment he entered the room, he saw Liang Xiao hiding under the blankets. She used the blankets to cover her face, and her hands that were holding onto the blankets were trembling slightly. He could imagine how nervous and agitated she was at this moment. Charlotte gently closed the door and locked it. This was not to guard against thieves, but to guard against Liang Xiao's father, Liang Zhengchun. Charlotte gently approached Liang Xiao's bed, but when he reached the bedside, he didn't know what to do. Should he pounce on her, or should he greet her first? Only virgins could understand the world of virgins. After waiting for a while and seeing no movement, Liang Xiao couldn't hold it in anymore. She secretly lifted the blankets that were covering her face and stared at Charlotte, but she could only see a blurry figure. She couldn't see Charlotte's face at all, but even if she couldn't see it all, she knew who it was. She was familiar with Charlotte's scent. Charlotte finally spoke, but it was only one word. Liang Xiao suddenly popped her head out and pretended to be shocked. Why are you in my room? She didn't know that Charlotte could see her every move clearly, but she thought that Charlotte was the same as her and couldn't see the situation on the bed at all. Charlotte was amused by her act of burying one's head in the sand, but he held back his laughter and pretended to be shocked. This is your room? I walked into the wrong room. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. With that said, he turned to leave. Liang Xiao said slowly, Go. If you leave, You can only touch me on the night of our wedding. Charlotte. This sentence was like a spell that froze Charlotte in an instant. With a light click, the lamp on the bedside table lit up. The lights were pink, giving off a romantic and warm feeling, and also evoking certain desires. Liang Xiao lifted the quilt and stared at Charlotte. She was only wearing a red bikini. Her snow-white skin was exposed to the air, and she looked sweeter than a cake. The curves of her body rose and fell. The places that should be big were big and firm. The places that should be thin were thin and soft, and the places that should be long and beautiful. Everything about her was perfect and alluring. Charlotte was stunned. His left eye twitched slightly, but he couldn't care less at this time. Haven't you seen enough? Liang Xiao's dimples were full of shyness, but she still plucked up her courage and patted the empty space beside her. Charlotte came back to his senses. He took off his shoes and climbed up. Liang Xiao asked nervously, "Is my dad asleep?" Charlotte nodded his head vigilantly. "The door is closed and the lights are off. He should be asleep." Liang Xiao burst into laughter. "It's like we're thieves." Charlotte moved closer to her. "I want to steal his daughter." Liang Xiao closed her eyes. She waited shyly until Charlotte kissed her passionately. After a passionate kiss, Charlotte blushed and said, "I'm going to take a shower." Liang Xiao hooked her arms around his neck. "No, I just like the smell of sweat on your body. Then I won't take a shower." Charlotte couldn't wait any longer. Liang Xiao hooked her long legs around his waist again. She was extremely shy and nervous. "I am doing it for the first time." Charlotte was also very nervous. "I am doing it for the first time too." "Then, do you know what to do?" Charlotte was speechless. "Be gentle." Charlotte pulled the blanket over him. He and Liang Xiao disappeared under the blanket. Wrong. It's not there, you idiot." The night was long, and there was endless love. The person who tasted the forbidden fruit for the first time tasted the forbidden fruit again and again. The next morning, Liang Zhengchun found that Liang Xiao had become obedient when he woke up. She had already prepared breakfast. He found that Liang Xiao seemed to have changed into a different person. She was full of energy and joy, as if she had encountered a lot of good things. However, he soon found that Liang Xiao walked a little awkwardly. She was not limping, but it was not normal. "Xiao, what happened to your foot?" Liang Zhengchun asked worriedly. Liang Xiao inexplicably blushed. "I am fine. I accidentally slipped in the kitchen and twisted my foot. Go and apply some medicine. The medicinal wine I made is very useful for treating injuries." Liang Zhengchun said. Liang Xiao hurriedly said, "No, it's okay. I'll be fine in a while. If it doesn't work, I'll ask Charlotte to give me acupuncture. He's very good at it." Liang Zhengchun said, "Lazy is still sleeping? Go and wake him up for breakfast." "Okay." Liang Xiao limped to her room. Liang Zhengchun looked at Liang Xiao suspiciously. When Liang Xiao opened her door, she suddenly remembered something and smiled awkwardly. "I went to the wrong room." She then closed the door and turned to Charlotte's room. Liang Zhengchun shook his head with a bitter smile. He seemed to understand something. He felt a little lost in his heart, but he was also very happy. Only a man who raised a daughter would understand how he felt at this moment. In the room, Charlotte was still sleeping soundly. Last night's absurdity exhausted him. If Liang Xiao hadn't driven him away from her bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, he would probably have slept in her bed until noon. Liang Xiao patted Charlotte's cheek, but her tone was very gentle. "Lazy pig, get up. The sun is shining on your butt." Charlotte opened his sleepy eyes and said in a daze, "Let me sleep for a while. I'm yawning. I'm so sleepy." Liang Xiao frowned and reached out to pinch Charlotte's nose. "Get up. My dad is waiting for you to have breakfast. If he sees you, how embarrassing would it be?" Only then did Charlotte get up from the bed. Then he realized that his back was aching and his legs were soft. Liang Xiao poked Charlotte with her finger. "You glutton. You've eaten again and again, and it's still not enough. Now you know that you're tired, right?" Charlotte smiled and hugged her small waist. "It's not enough for me to eat for a lifetime." Liang Xiao's heart was rippling with happiness. She kissed Charlotte's cheek. All right. Stop fooling around. Let's go out. My dad is waiting for us. After washing up, Charlotte came to the dining room and greeted Liang Zhengchun respectfully. Good morning, master. Let's eat. Send me to the boxing gym after eating, Liang Zhengchun said. Charlotte responded and sat down to eat. He didn't dare to look at Liang Zhengchun's eyes. Liang Xiao kept putting food in Charlotte's bowl. You're tired from work. Eat more and nourish your body. Charlotte. After breakfast, the three went downstairs. Liang Xiao said, Lei, where's your car? Charlotte was hesitant to tell Liang Xiao and Liang Zhengchun that his car had been smashed by Gu Kuwu. But if he said it, Liang Xiao and Liang Zhengchun would definitely be worried. If he didn't say it, he didn't want to hide anything from Liang Xiao. After all, it was not a small matter. But at this moment, a brand new black BMW M6 came from the direction of the gate of the community. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of the three of them. The door opened, and Fu Chuanfu got out of the car. Uncle Fu, you are. Charlotte had some doubts in his heart. Fu Chuanfu said with a smile, Mr. Xia, I'm really sorry. I crashed the car I borrowed from you last time. It can't be repaired. I'll give you a new car. This. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. Fu Chuanfu said again, You also have a new car. What's wrong with me giving you a new car? The formalities are all done. The key is in the car. Please accept it. Before Charlotte said anything, Liang Xiao said, Uncle Fu, thank you. Then we'll take care of it. The housekeeper was a housekeeper. Others crashed her Charlotte's car. Of course, she had to pay for it. That was a car worth more than 2 million yuan. Since Liang Xiao had spoken, Charlotte couldn't refuse anymore. Thank you. In fact, he also knew that this car must have been sent by Xinda Tianyin, especially by Fu Chuanfu. She was smart and deliberately asked Fu Chuanfu to think of such an excuse. Fu Chuanfu bowed deeply to Liang Xiao. Liang Xiao hurriedly helped Fu Chuanfu up. She said in surprise, Uncle Fu, what are you doing? Fu Chuanfu said, This is the idea of my young lady. She asked me to convey her gratitude to you. Liang Xiao said awkwardly, I didn't do anything. Why did she thank me? Fu Chuanfu said, I don't know. You will have many opportunities to meet in the future. You can ask her. Well, I've done what I should do. Goodbye. Charlotte said, I'll see you off. Fu Chuanfu said, No, Jin Dahu is waiting for me outside. He's driving. Charlotte said, Uncle Fu, take care. Fu Chuanfu waved his hand and strode to the gate of the community. Charlotte thought for a moment and finally said, Actually, my car was smashed by Gu Kuwu. Liang Xiao was slightly stunned, and then she giggled. I guess it wasn't like that, but it's natural for you to take her car. If it weren't for her, would your car have been smashed? After telling the truth, Charlotte's heart suddenly relaxed. Liang Xiao and Liang Zhengchun were both very good people. He didn't want to hide anything, and he didn't want to deceive Liang Xiao. Liang Zhengchun said with some worry, Is the problem serious? Charlotte said with a smile, It's okay, master. Don't worry. It's all settled. Well, it's good that it's settled. Let's go. I'm in a hurry to open the door. Liang Zhengchun didn't ask anything. Liang Xiao said, Drive the new car and try it. If there's any problem, you can find a 4S shop to replace it. Then she moved closer to Charlotte's ear and whispered, I know why she thanked me. It's because she lent me her boyfriend. She's tactful, but she's only lending me this time. There's no need to talk about it next time. Charlotte, after a while, the brand new black BMW M6 stopped in front of the boxing gym. Liang Zhengchun got out of the car and walked 2 steps before turning back. He said meaningfully, Both of you, be careful. Well, master, be careful too. Charlotte felt warm in his heart. Liang Zhengchun left after saying that. Liang Xiao's face was red. After a while, she suddenly reached out and pinched Charlotte's thigh. She said angrily, My dad knows. It's all your fault. Charlotte was puzzled and said, What does he know? What are you blaming me for? Didn't you hear it? He told us to be careful. Safety. We didn't use condoms last night. Charlotte, when you go to the company, go to our supermarket and steal a few boxes. Steal a few boxes? You're the boss. If you buy condoms, won't the employees in the supermarket know? If the employees in the supermarket know, won't all the employees in the factory know? Go to the warehouse and steal them. They're yours anyway. Charlotte. Chapter 199. Mr. Xia, this is the new employee list. Take a look. The personnel director, Dubai, handed a file to Charlotte. Charlotte flipped through a few articles and then jumped directly to the last page. He glanced at the statistics and was immediately shocked. 508 people. Dubai said very respectfully, "This is all because of your strategy, Mr. Xia. You let the employees of our company recommend them. Look, their classmates and friends all came. The new employees recommended some more, and we suddenly have more people." Charlotte smiled. What strategy? It's because our company's welfare is good and the prospects are good. Go, there are a lot of new employees. You have to take good care of them and arrange them well. Let the veterans take care of them. After the new workshop is built, they will have to take charge of it alone. Well, don't worry, Mr. Xia. I'll go. Dubai took the file and left. He said to Liang Xiao, who was immersed in the documents, "Miss Liang, you're busy." Liang Xiao looked up and smiled. Go. This tone was the same as Charlotte's. As soon as Dubai left, Liang Xiao left her desk and ran to Charlotte. Charlotte reached out and hugged her small waist. He said with a smile, "Why haven't you gotten off work yet? You just came to work and you want to get off work?" "Yes, I want to go home with you." Liang Xiao's cheeks suddenly blushed. "You made me. It's not convenient for me to walk. I don't even dare to go out of the office now. You still want to? You're a glutton." Charlotte's palm rubbed her plump and perky and said softly, "Who told you to be so charming?" His perverted hands, his soft and sweet words of love suddenly softened Liang Xiao. She was intimate with him for a while and suddenly thought of something. Go. Where to? Charlotte was puzzled. To steal condoms. Liang Xiao bit Charlotte's ear. Go steal it from the storeroom. Otherwise, I won't go home with you. I'll sleep in the dormitory. Charlotte, the CEO of Lima Manufacturing Company, actually wanted to steal condoms from his own company's supermarket storeroom. Not to mention doing it, even thinking about it made him feel awkward and ridiculous. But in the end, Charlotte still went. He couldn't resist Liang Xiao's coaxing and pestering. Things went smoothly. Charlotte was the CEO of the company. If he wanted to check the safety of the warehouse, how could the warehouse manager stop him? Charlotte sent the warehouse manager away and quickly found what he was looking for. Then he filled his pockets with boxes of those things. When Charlotte walked out of the warehouse manager saw that Charlotte's pockets were bulging. He was full of doubts, but he didn't dare to ask. That was true. The entire supermarket belonged to Director Xia. How could Director Xia steal things from the storeroom? Charlotte looked serious. Well, there are a few boxes of milk blocking the fire extinguisher. Go and tidy them up. That's a fire hazard. I'll go and tidy them up right away. The warehouse manager didn't dare to delay and went into the warehouse to deal with the problem. Charlotte secretly sighed in relief. The signal wasn't discovered. If it was, how embarrassing would it be? "Lei, what are you doing here?" A soft and seductive voice came from behind him. Charlotte turned around and saw Qin Xiang. Her lips were bright red, her eyeshadow was thick, and she was wearing feminine clothes. She was so eye-catching and unique. When he saw Qin Xiang, he suddenly had a headache. "Oh, I have nothing to do, so I came to check the safety of the warehouse." Qin Xiang swayed her hips as she walked to Charlotte's side. "Shintu Qianing's matter is settled?" Charlotte nodded. "It's settled. The killers have been caught, and the masterminds have also been caught. It should be fine now. If that's the case, then it's settled. But you have to be careful of the Gu family. Gu Kuwu isn't easy to deal with." Qin Xiang said. Charlotte patted Qin Xiang's shoulder. "I'll be careful. Thank you." After a pause, he said, "Right, I still have to go to the workshop to take a look. You should be busy. I'm leaving. You're working hard. Go. Come to my office when you're free." Qin Xiang said with a smile. Charlotte left. "Lei." Qin Xiang's voice suddenly came from behind. "You dropped something." "What?" Charlotte turned back to look, only to see Qin Xiang holding a box of Durex. In that instant, he froze as though he was struck by lightning. Qin Xiang walked over, opened Charlotte's pocket, and put the box of Durex in Charlotte's pocket. She then smiled and said, "You're using this with Miss Liang, right?" Charlotte smiled awkwardly. "I knew it." Qin Xiang smiled charmingly. "Let me know when you're done, and I'll send it over to you. With your skills, you want to steal condoms from me? Hee, have you forgotten what I do for a living? There are surveillance cameras installed in the warehouse." Charlotte was speechless. "I'm serious. Come to my office when you're free. I'll teach you how to steal," Qin Xiang said. "It'll be easier to do things with one more skill." Charlotte hesitated for a moment. "I'll learn from you tomorrow, but don't tell anyone that I came here to get condoms." Qin Xiang chuckled. "Don't worry." After leaving the warehouse, Charlotte walked to his office. He was also thinking about Qin Xiang's suggestion. Learn how to steal? It's not that there's no benefit. After all, I have another identity. Qin Xiang's methods are really useful for me in that identity. Well, since she's willing to teach me, it doesn't matter if I learn. His other identity was a consultant for 101 innings. Long Bing might appear in front of him at any time and ask him to help complete mission. He might also use Qin Xiang's stealing methods. From his point of view, learning the godly thief technique was beneficial. Mr. Xia. Yin Hao came from the direction of the office and greeted Charlotte from afar. He was holding a stack of documents in his hand. Charlotte stopped. "Yin Hao, what's the matter?" Yin Hao walked to Charlotte. "Mr. Xia, during this time, our R&D department has completed several plans. We talked to Miss Liang before. She also liked it, but she said that such things should be decided by you. Take a look. These are the plans we completed." The new products that the company produced were indeed decided by Charlotte himself. Charlotte took the documents Yin Hao handed to him and looked through them. During this time, the employees of the R&D department had worked very hard. There were a total of 5 plans, each of which was very creative. Yin Hao said, "Mr. Xia, these plans are designed according to the company's development concept that you set before. They're all small goods that are close to the lives of ordinary people and convenient for ordinary people." Charlotte's face was full of praise. "Well, this fitness equipment that can be folded is good. There are a lot of fat people now. After the fitness equipment you designed is folded, you can carry it with one hand. It's good for people who often work in the office. The rest are not suitable for the time being. Let's finalize this fitness equipment first. You can send the drawings to the workshop and let them try to make some." "Well, okay." Yin Hao was very happy that Charlotte liked one of the 5 plans. "Wait." Charlotte stopped Yin Hao again. Yin Hao looked at Charlotte. "Is there anything else, Mr. Xia?" Charlotte thought for a moment and finally made up his mind. He said, "I have a very good idea. Your R&D department can try to do it." "What idea?" Yin Hao's interest was immediately aroused. Charlotte was like an idol to people who graduated from polytechnics. Charlotte's idea and his intuition were extraordinary. Charlotte said, "My idea is an automatic skateboard. There is no such thing on the market. If we can make it, the patent is ours, and only we can sell on the market. If we do it well, it will definitely be popular." Automatic skateboard? Automatic skateboard. Yin Hao seemed to be imagining the product's appearance and functions in his mind. He couldn't help but smile excitedly. "Why didn't I think of it? There is no such thing on the market. It is a novel product. Once we make it, it will definitely be liked by many young people." Charlotte smiled. "Just tell Han Bo about this. Don't tell anyone else for now. I'll leave this to you and Han Bo. If you have any difficulties, don't hesitate to look for me. I will complete the design with you. Mr. Xia, there will definitely be no problems with your participation. I'll go look for Han Bo now." Yin Hao couldn't wait to find Han Bo to discuss the design. Go. Charlotte was also very happy. This was a sudden idea. When Yin Hao showed him the design plan, it popped up out of nowhere. However, this idea wasn't inspiration. It was purely a reference. It was a reference to Nice Moves Sports Equipment Company's automatic surfboard. The reason he made such a quick decision was because he wanted revenge. Back then, Gu Qian had used despicable means to take away Lu Ying's patent. After Gu Qian took over Nice Moves Sports Equipment Company, their automatic surfboards were selling very well in the foreign market and they made a lot of money. Lu Ying, who should have enjoyed this kind of success, was forced to go to Australia and live alone with her child in a strange place. During this time, Charlotte also kept in contact with Lu Ying. Although the two of them only talked about their daily lives and children, Charlotte could feel her sadness every time. He also felt that it was unfair to her and wanted to do something for her. In the past, Charlotte didn't know what he could do for Lu Ying because his abilities were limited. However, it was different now. He had his own Lima manufacturing company and his identity as a consultant for 101 innings. He already had the ability to seek justice for Lu Ying. Moreover, Gu Kawu and Gu Qin had shed all pretense of cordiality with him and stood on opposite sides. Even if he didn't do anything, they wouldn't let it go so easily. So why not take the initiative to attack and bite them? The automatic surfboards produced by Nice Moves Sports Equipment Company, which was controlled by Gu Qin, were targeted at products on the sea and lakes. However, what he wanted to design and produce was a similar product targeted at the land market. His left eye stored a full set of blueprints for the automatic surfboard, including parts and parameters. He only needed to install 4 wheels on the automatic surfboard to apply for a patent. The reason why he let Ian Hao and Han Bo participate was not because he wanted them to share the design work, but because it was a kind of training purpose. One thing was for sure, he alone could complete 90% of the design for this automatic surfboard. Smash my car? You want a pair of hamstrings for me? Do you think I'm a pushover? A cold smirk appeared in the corners of Xia Lei's lips. Let's wait and see. You have to pay for everything you've done. Walking into the studio, Charlotte turned into a human-shaped machine. This time, besides creating a set of mechanical boxing gloves for Liang Xiao, he also wanted to copy the design of Nice Moves Sports Equipment Company's automatic surfboard and make some slight changes to make it his own automatic surfboard. Chapter 200. A week later, Charlotte came out of his studio with a large cardboard box in his arms. The cardboard box was sealed with tape, so no one could see what was inside. Mr. Xiao, what are you holding? Do you need help? Lu Xuebing, the workshop director, who had just come out of the office building, asked. Charlotte said, It's nothing. You go ahead with your work. I'll bring it up myself. Okay, I'll go to the workshop. Lu Xuebing walked to the workshop, but stopped after 2 steps. Mr. Xia, there are no orders for the fitness equipment designed by Yi Hao. Do you still want to continue? No need. We'll wait for the sales and get the order. Charlotte said. Okay, we'll do something else. Lu Xuebing then walked to the workshop. Charlotte smiled. With the things in the cardboard box, why would he care about fitness equipment? He had a feeling that once the things in the cardboard box came out, it would definitely be a hit. Charlotte carried the cardboard box into his and Liang Xiao's office. Liang Xiao was squatting on the floor, holding a spray gun and spraying paint on her mechanical gloves. She had sprayed red paint, and the 2 mechanical gloves had already been sprayed bright red by her. It was especially bright. Charlotte couldn't help but laugh. Xiao, why did you spray them red? Liang Xiao looked up at Charlotte and pursed her lips into a smile. They look good. Look, they look much better now. Charlotte carefully looked at the mechanical gloves she put on the newspaper, nodded, and commented, Well, they look better than the original silver ones. You think they look good too? It seems like we have the same aesthetic concept. Hee hee. Liang Xiao laughed happily. Well, so I sprayed yours too. Ah. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. He said that Liang Xiao's mechanical gloves looked good with red paint, but that was just to please her. He didn't expect that Liang Xiao would spray his too. It's under your desk. Go take a look. You'll definitely like it, Liang Xiao said. Charlotte hurriedly put down the cardboard box and ran to his desk to take a look. His mechanical gloves were placed on the floor under his desk, also covered with newspaper. There was a large patch of black on the newspaper. Liang Xiao had sprayed his mechanical gloves into a pair of black things. This prodigal woman. Xiaolei looked at his mechanical gloves and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He wanted to scold Liang Xiao, but he couldn't bear to. This week, he and Liang Xiao were like glue, like a fish in water, and the condoms from the supermarket's warehouse were quickly reduced. He didn't even have time to dote on them. So how could he bear to scold her? It's done. Liang Xiao put down the spray gun and walked over to Charlotte with a smile. How is it? Charlotte smiled bitterly. Fortunately, you didn't spray paint my mechanical gloves green. Liang Xiao's cherry lips slightly curled up. Don't I look good? Red with black, it looks good. Black also has another advantage. If you wear it at night, it's not easy to be discovered. Charlotte's words were all against his conscience. But who told him to fall for Liang Xiao's tricks? You're so nice. Liang Xiao hugged Charlotte from behind and then whispered in his ear, Darling, I'll give you extra food tonight. When he heard the word extra food, Charlotte's legs were a little weak. After a while, Liang Xiao let go of Charlotte and curiously asked, What's in the box? Charlotte said, It's the product I told you about. I already made it. Automatic skateboard? Charlotte nodded. Take a look. For such an important product, he didn't let the workshop do it. He did it himself and spent a few days to complete it. Now it was time to verify it. Liang Xiao used a paper knife to cut the tape on the box, opened the box, and couldn't wait to take out the things inside. It looked like a fat skateboard. It was much thicker than an ordinary skateboard. After all, it was equipped with a battery and a drive device. In addition to the thickness, the wheels were bigger than an ordinary skateboard, but it looked stronger and more flexible. However, the most special thing was that the edge of the skateboard was equipped with ambient lights. It wasn't turned on yet, but it could be imagined that it was fashionable and dazzling. So beautiful. Liang Xiao put the automatic skateboard on the ground and then stood on it. However, the skateboard didn't move, and she couldn't see any switch. She curiously asked, How do I start it? Charlotte said, It will move when you slide, but be careful. Don't fall. I was a master of this when I was a child. Liang Xiao stood on it and gently slid forward. The automatic skateboard immediately switched to automatic mode and carried her forward. The ambient lights around the skateboard were also automatically turned on. The blue LED light chain was shining like a light ribbon flying on the ground. It was very dazzling. Liang Xiao automatically skated a few laps in the open space of the office. She was a little unsatisfied. Can you go faster? Charlotte said, The initial speed is only 10 yards per hour. If you add power to your feet, it can go faster. But you have to be careful. It's a small space here. Liang Xiao didn't take Charlotte's warning to heart. She used one foot to add power to the automatic skateboard. The speed of the automatic skateboard suddenly increased. She slid 2 laps and suddenly stepped on the back of the skateboard. The automatic skateboard flew up with her. The skateboard flipped in the air. When it landed, she stood on it again steadily. Charlotte smiled. He felt that his worry was really unnecessary. Liang Xiao was the successor of Yin Yongchun. She was good at skateboarding. Moreover, she was a master of skateboarding when she was a child. Liang Xiao stopped and said excitedly, Although it is thicker than ordinary skateboards, the weight does not increase much. It does not affect the flexibility of the skateboard. It is so fashionable and beautiful. It will definitely sell well. Apply for a patent now. I have an intuition that it can really make our Lima Manufacturing Company take off. In the past, Lima Manufacturing Company helped people to process parts and calculate orders. No matter how much they earned, it was hard-earned money. They didn't earn much at all, except for the money that Charlotte earned in Shenzhou Industry Group. The profit of Lima Manufacturing Company was actually very ordinary. It was really not realistic for Lima Manufacturing Company to develop. In the final analysis, the reason was that Lima Manufacturing Company didn't have its own hot-selling product. Now, with this automatic skateboard, Lima Manufacturing Company would undoubtedly have an opportunity to take off. I will apply for a patent. You arrange to buy batteries from BYD. Their battery technology is very good. Charlotte said, Well, I will go now. If we want to make it, we want the best. We also need to open up the foreign market. We can't do without quality. Liang Xiao said and left. After Liang Xiao left, Charlotte called Long Bing. What are you doing? I'm answering your phone. It was Long Bing's voice. What is it? Her style hadn't changed at all. Charlotte smiled bitterly. Well, I will be straightforward. I have a very good product. I want to ask you to help me apply for a patent. Just send me the information. Long Bing said. I will send it to you later. Thank you. Charlotte breathed a sigh of relief. She was willing to help. This matter was considered a success. Long Bing said, Don't thank me. I also have something to ask of you. Charlotte smiled and said, Let's not be polite. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Longbing was silent for a moment and then said, help me modify a sniper rifle. The accuracy of the domestic sniper rifles is too low. Modify a sniper rifle? Charlotte was surprised. I have never done it before. Is it okay? Longbing said lightly. If you can't do it, then no one can. I will borrow 2 foreign sniper rifles from other sources. You just need to modify it. At the very least, you need to modify it to the same level as the foreign ones. It would be best if you can make it better than the foreign ones. Okay, I will try. Charlotte bit the bullet and agreed. He then asked casually, are you going to use it or someone else? Of course it's me. I will ask Kujia to send you what you need. Keep the phone open. He will contact you. That's all. I'm hanging up. Longbing hung up the phone. No wonder Longbing agreed to help without even asking. It turned out that she also had something to ask of him. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. So fast? Charlotte thought it was Kujia, but when he looked at it, he found it was Mayor Hu Ho. He then slid the answer button. Hello, Mayor Hu. This is Charlotte. Hello. Hu Ho also said politely. Mayor Hu, what can I do for you? Are you free now? I'm free. Then come to my office. I have something to talk to you. It's not convenient to talk on the phone. Hu Ho said. Charlotte said, okay, I'll be there right away. The mayor called for an appointment. Charlotte had to go no matter how busy he was. Charlotte told Liang Xiao and then drove to the city hall. When he arrived at Hu Ho's office, he saw that there were already several people in the office. What surprised him was that he actually ran into Zhang San, who he called a brother. As soon as he saw Charlotte enter the door, Zhang San smiled and shook hands with Charlotte. He said kindly, brother, I just talked to Mayor Hu about you. Mayor Hu praised you a lot. Charlotte also said with a smile, brother son, don't laugh at me. Who dares to laugh at you? Laughing at you is equivalent to laughing at me. I'm not done with him. Zhang San looked very righteous. Hu Ho interrupted the greetings between the two. Zhang San, you can catch up later. I have a few words with Charlotte. Zhang San said, okay, we'll wait for you in the conference room. After Zhang San and several people in the office left, Hu Ho said, Charlotte, have you thought about what I asked you to think about last time? Mayor Hu was talking about going public. Charlotte said, I've thought about it. I don't have the idea of going public for the time being. Why? Charlotte said, going public is nothing more than financing, solving the problem of cash flow and development. My company is small, and there is no problem with cash flow. Moreover, my company doesn't have the strength to expand for the time being, and I don't need funds to expand. In this case, going public is not good. Hu Ho said with a smile, it seems that you have thought about it very clearly. Let's talk about going public later. I called you here this time because I want you to participate in the fair held in Haizhu City. Fair? Charlotte didn't expect such a thing. Hu Ho said, yes, the first fair in Haizhu City is open to the whole country. We haven't announced the news yet, but many companies have received the news from private sources and sent people to learn about it and sign up. Of course, I have to give priority to the local companies in Haizhu City for such a good thing. By the way, does your company have any good products? If so, you should come and participate. This is a good opportunity to promote your products and company culture. Charlotte smiled and said, of course. By the way, when will it be held? In a week. Xiao Lei calculated the time. This was the time when he accompanied Liang Zhengchun to participate in the martial arts circle assembly. Without any delay, he said, okay, our company will participate, and we will definitely not let you down, Mayor Hu. Hu Ho said with a smile, it seems that you have a card up your sleeve. Let's go to the conference room. I'll talk about the details in the conference room. Chapter 201. There were even more people in the conference room. As soon as Charlotte entered, he saw Shinda Tianin, as well as Gu Qian, whom he didn't want to see the most. Shinda Tianin and Gu Qian also saw Charlotte, and their reactions were completely different. Gu Qian's gaze was filled with hatred and disdain, while Shinda Tianin stood up and waved at Charlotte. Come and sit, come here quickly. Shinda Tianin's tone was friendly, and she had a bright smile on her face. Charlotte also returned a smile and walked over to her. For some reason, when he saw Shinda Tianin, he also had a very cordial feeling. He wanted to chat with her and understand Shinta-ren's situation. "Isn't that Charlotte?" a business owner whispered. A few days ago, the media was still reporting that he was Shinta Tianin's boyfriend. Is that true? It should be true, right? Look, isn't Shinta Tianin greeting him? Shinta Tianin is smiling so warmly. When have we ever seen her smile? Another business owner said. What the F***CK? A nobody actually managed to hook up with the Ice Queen of the Wanxian Corporation? A young man who was suspected to be a business owner felt very uncomfortable. Maybe he's that amazing? If the Ice Queen of the Wanxian Corporation likes him, no one could do anything about it. Someone said, this kid is really lucky to be able to get Shinta Tianin's favor. He can be considered to have married into a rich family. Someone else said, the people in the room were talking about it. Some of them were just gossiping, but some of the young, rich second generations and future CEOs were envious and jealous, and their words were not pleasant to hear. All men had the same mentality. If Charlotte was richer and had a higher social status than them, they would probably accept it. However, all of them felt that they were much better than Charlotte. Why couldn't they get Shinta Tianin's favor, but their hearts did? For a person with such a mentality, if this wasn't a flower stuck in cow dung, then what was? With so many people discussing, Charlotte was not deaf. Of course, he could hear them. His heart was very uncomfortable, but he had no way to deal with this situation. He couldn't beat up everyone who talked about him, could he? If he really did that, then almost half of the people in this conference room would be beaten up. The best way to deal with it was to face it calmly. Charlotte pretended not to hear these unpleasant comments. He walked to Shinta Tianin's side. Shinta Tianin even personally pulled out a chair for him and invited him to take a seat. What have you been busy with these few days? Shinta Tianin looked a little unhappy. You didn't even give me a call. Charlotte actually wanted to call her, but he was worried that Liang Xiao would be jealous, so he held back. He had also guessed that Shinta Tianin would ask him this question, but he didn't have a good answer. He only smiled. I'm working on a new product. They applauded at every point, which gave Gu Qian enough face and also brought up the atmosphere in the conference room. In fact, Gu Qian had no shortage of suitors. Shinta Tianin, however, was not interested in listening anymore. She touched Charlotte's thigh with the back of her hand. Charlotte lowered his voice. What's the matter? Shinta Tianin also whispered, I know how she got Yedong Sports. She can be so calm even when she's a robber. She's also a talent. How could Mayor who allow her to speak on such an occasion? I feel disgusted when I see her pretending. Charlotte thought of Lu Ying and sighed. There's no such thing as fairness in this world. Some justice has to be fought for. She's done all kinds of bad things, and sooner or later, she'll get what she deserves. At this time, a staff member came in with an automatic surfboard and placed it on the table in front of Gu Qian. Gu Qian smiled. This time, we, Yedong Sports, will represent Haizhu City's enterprises to show our automatic surfboard at the expo. It has already enjoyed a certain reputation in the foreign market, but very few people in the country know about it. Thank you, Mayor Hu, for giving us the opportunity to show this product to the domestic market. We also have the confidence to open up the domestic market. Mayor Hu, could you please arrange a conspicuous booth for us? Of course. Someone chimed in. Mayor Hu, you must give Miss Gu the best booth. Hu Ho smiled and said, Of course we will, Miss Gu. Don't worry. The best booth, of course, will be reserved for products that can best represent Haizhu City's innovative ideas. Thank you, Mayor Hu. Gu Qian smiled happily. Her eyes also moved to Charlotte. And then she said, by the way, Mayor Hu, is a company that processes parts for others also participating in this expo? Is he going to show off the parts or screws that he processes for others? Although she didn't mention a name, many people knew that she was talking about Charlotte. Just the gossip about Charlotte and Shinta Tianin had been dug up by the media reporters. His high school education level, his hard work on the construction site, and so on were all made public. Now in Haizhu City, who didn't know about Charlotte? However, his popularity was negative. Some people who couldn't eat grapes, but said that the grapes were sour, also regarded him as a laughingstock. Gu Qian, Shinta Tianin suddenly stood up. However, Charlotte took her hand and pulled her back to her seat. Gu Qian didn't restrain herself at all. She said sarcastically, "Sister Tianyin, I didn't mention a name. Are you so sure who I'm talking about? As a woman, I also want to advise you that some men are only interested in your money. For your money, they will do anything. In the past, in order to survive, he would even do the dirty work on the construction site. What else can't he do?" There was sporadic laughter in the meeting room. The people who were laughing were all people who were on good terms with Gu Qian. Shinta Tianyin was about to lose her temper, but Charlotte held her down. This time he stood up. "Gu Qian, whether you're talking about me or not, I don't care. Even if you say 10,000 words to me, will I fall down? You can't even hurt a hair of mine. You're so thick-skinned." Gu Qian snorted. "Mayor Hu, I have nothing to say about other companies participating, but how can you include Lima Manufacturing Company? That's just a small workshop that processes screws. If Lima Manufacturing Company is participating, Yedong Sports won't participate." Directly challenging Hu Ho, only Gu Qian had the guts to do so. "Miss Gu, what are you?" Hu Ho's face was a little embarrassed. He admitted that the Gu family was powerful and he didn't want to provoke them. But Gu Qian had humiliated him in front of so many entrepreneurs, so he must be uncomfortable. Gu Qian said, "Mayor Hu, I'm also doing this for the sake of the enterprises in Haizhu City. How can a small enterprise that can't even produce a decent product participate in such an expo? Isn't this tarnishing the reputation of the enterprises in Haizhu City? If you put a few screws on the exhibition stand, haha, people from other places will think that Haizhu City is a poor and backward area when the media reports it." Hu Ho's face was gloomy. He was the one who invited Charlotte, and he had always been optimistic about Charlotte. Of course, he hoped that Charlotte would participate in the expo. However, Gu Qian had mocked him like this and even made it sound reasonable. This put him in a difficult position. Charlotte laughed. "Gu Qian, you're a thief. How dare you talk to Mayor Hu like this? Do you really think that the Gu family is the biggest family in the universe?" "What did you say?" Gu Qian pointed at Charlotte's nose. "Who are you calling a thief?" Charlotte didn't take Gu Qian's threats seriously at all. He said loudly, "I believe many people here know that Yedong Sports belongs to Ms. Lu Ying, right?" Gu Qian used her son to threaten her, so she was forced to sell Yedong Sports to Gu Qian. The automatic surfboard you saw was also developed by Lu Ying's husband, but now it belongs to Gu Qian. Tell me, if this isn't robbery, then what is? The conference room suddenly became quiet, and the atmosphere changed. In fact, many people present knew about Yedong Sports and the automatic surfboard, but no one dared to say it. Charlotte didn't care. He wanted to poke the hornet's nest of the Gu family. Gu Qian's face was livid with anger. He looked like he wanted to drink Charlotte's blood and eat Charlotte's flesh. Hu Ho laughed. "I say, what's going on with you guys? If you have any conflicts, go down and solve them. This is the government's conference room." Gu Qian snorted coldly. "Mayor Hu, in short, it's either him or me. If you insist on letting him participate in the expo, then Yedong Sports will withdraw. The Gu family's other businesses will also withdraw." Shinta Tianyin said, "Mayor Hu, it doesn't matter if the Gu family's business withdraws. Our Wanxiang group will replace the booth." "You." Gu Qian was so angry that she couldn't speak. Shinta Tianyin and Charlotte were obviously not on the same level. She obviously couldn't deal with Shinta Tianyin the way she dealt with Charlotte. "Well," Hu Ho was a little hesitant. Charlotte said, "Mayor Hu, don't worry. I will come up with a very good product to replace Yedong Sports booth. I promise you, it won't let you down." "Are you sure?" Hu Ho looked at Charlotte. Charlotte smiled. "Mayor Hu, when have I not fulfilled my promise?" Hu Ho nodded, then looked at Gu Qian. "You don't want to participate, right? Then don't participate." Gu Qian suddenly froze on the spot. Chapter 202. With Long Bing's help, the patent was approved on the same day. Not only was she fast, but her subordinates were also fast. Just after Charlotte, Liang Xiao, and Liang Zhengchun had dinner, Kujia knocked on the door of the Liang family's house. "May I ask who you are?" Liang Xiao didn't know Kujia. She saw that Kujia was carrying a long plastic box in his hand, and she couldn't help but be a little more vigilant. Kujia peeked through the door. Charlotte saw him and said, "Xiao, let him in. His name is Kujia, and he's here to see me." "Please come in," said Charlotte. Liang Xiao immediately smiled and invited him in. Kujia didn't say anything, nor did he have any expression. He entered the door, put the long plastic box at Charlotte's feet, and said, "Everything you want is inside. You can contact her when you're done. She'll come to get it." Charlotte said, "I'll get it done as soon as possible." Liang Xiao walked to Charlotte's side and said with a smile, "Mr. Ku, please sit down. I'll make you a cup of tea." Kujia said, "No, thank you. Goodbye." Liang Xiao, Kujia didn't say anything more. He turned around and left, closing the door when he went out. Liang Xiao was stunned for a long time before she said, "Who is he? It's so strange." Charlotte whispered, "I didn't tell you before, but I'll tell you now. He's Long Bing's subordinate. Both Long Bing and he work for the government. It's a very special job." "What kind of job?" Charlotte thought for a moment. "Well, have you seen The Bourne Identity?" Liang Xiao said, "Yes, I like that movie very much." "What's wrong with that?" Charlotte moved closer to her ear. "It's a job similar to Sean's. Do you understand?" Liang Xiao's jaw dropped. "It's fine if you know, but don't say anything," Charlotte warned. He had signed a confidentiality agreement not to reveal the secret of the 101 innings to anyone, but he had only made an indirect reference, which did not violate the confidentiality agreement he had signed. Liang Xiao nodded. "I know. Some things can't be said." After a pause, she suddenly thought of something and said, "I guess they won't let you tell anyone else, right? You can choose not to tell me. So why did you tell me?" Charlotte smiled. "You are my woman, not someone else." Liang Xiao moaned, burrowed into Charlotte's arms, and kissed Charlotte's lips. The reason why Charlotte gave such a hint was because he had his own considerations. In the future, he would have to work for the 101 innings. Liang Xiao was his woman, and she was destined to live with him. If he gave her such a hint earlier, she would be mentally prepared. Take the matter in front of him as an example. He was very sure that there was a sniper rifle and parts in the plastic box. If Liang Xiao didn't know anything and suddenly found him fiddling with a sniper rifle, wouldn't she be shocked? At that moment, Liang Xiao's heart was rippling with happiness, but she didn't dare to continue the kiss. Her father, Liang Zhengchun, was also at home. Who knew when he would come out of the study? It wouldn't be good if he saw it. She let go of Charlotte and shifted her attention to the plastic box. "What's inside?" Long Bing asked me to help her modify a gun. "I didn't open it, but I think it should be a gun," Charlotte said. "Let me open it." Liang Xiao followed and squatted down to open the box. The box opened, and inside was a brand new sniper rifle, some sniper rifle parts, such as the barrel, stock, and trigger, as well as an instruction manual. "Wow, it looks so cool." Liang Xiao was a woman who practiced martial arts. She had a strong interest and fondness for weapons. She couldn't wait to take out the sniper rifle from the plastic box and play with it in her hands. Charlotte picked up the instruction manual and read it. The instruction manual was all in English, but this didn't affect his reading. The sniper rifle Long Bing sent was an AS-50 sniper rifle. It was an anti-material and long-range sniper rifle designed by a famous AI company for the U.S. military special forces. Its performance was the best in the world. Its effective range was as high as 1,500 meters, and its rate of fire was extremely fast. It could fire 5 rounds of 12, 7mm caliber bullets in 1.5 seconds. China was currently unable to produce this kind of sniper rifle. Even if they tried to imitate it, they could only imitate its shape. Currently, China's special forces have participated in the martial arts competition using imported sniper rifles. There was no way for China's local forces to win in the competition. This was the tragedy of a large country. After quickly reading the instruction manual, Charlotte memorized all the pictures, parameters, and principles on the instruction manual. His gaze moved to the pile of gun parts in the plastic box. Those parts were obviously taken from one or more domestic sniper rifles. They didn't even have a serial number. Charlotte smiled bitterly. He was a bit depressed. She gave me these things and wanted me to modify a sniper rifle with better performance than the AS-50. She really knows how to give me trouble. However, although Charlotte felt that it was a bit troublesome, he was still very confident. He could even make Joseph's smart machine tool. Modifying a sniper rifle obviously wouldn't be any more difficult than making a machine tool. As long as he studied it and moved it, it would be more or less complete. Liang Xiao fiddled with the pile of scattered gun parts again. She seemed to want to try to assemble the parts into a complete gun, but she couldn't do it no matter how she fiddled with it. Charlotte said, "Let's go back to our room. It's not good for Master to see this. He'll be worried." Okay. Liang Xiao put the parts in her hand back into the plastic box, and then carried the plastic box into her room. Charlotte looked back at the study that was still lit. He was a bit hesitant. Liang Xiao suddenly jumped out and dragged him into her room. Charlotte said nervously, "Master hasn't slept yet. If he finds out I'm in your room, how embarrassing would that be?" Liang Xiao said nonchalantly, "He knows everything. He even told us to pay attention to safety in that aspect. What are you embarrassed about? From today onwards, I want to live with you openly." Charlotte's heart felt warm. "Okay, I'll do as you say. I'm going to take a shower. You can play with the gun for a while, then I'll play with it." Liang Xiao said. Charlotte was happy. He smiled and said, "What gun do you want to play with?" "A big gun," Liang Xiao said. She suddenly recalled something. Her pretty face suddenly turned red. She punched Charlotte. "You're bad. I said the big gun in the box. Do you think it's your big gun? Shameless. I'm ignoring you. I'm going to take a shower. You're not allowed to peek." Although she said those words, she completely treated Charlotte as air. She undressed in front of him and then walked naked into the bathroom. She clearly saw Charlotte looking at her, but she didn't say anything. She was such a hearty and lovely woman. Charlotte watched her disappear into the bathroom before withdrawing his gaze. He sorted out his messy thoughts and then picked up the AS-50 sniper rifle to observe. Not only did he observe the external structure of the spear, but he also observed the internal structure of the spear in a panoramic view. After a long while, Charlotte secretly said in his heart, "It's not complicated. Precision, structure, and materials determine whether a gun's performance is superior or not. Precision is not a problem for me. I can also refer to the structure. I just need to refine the parts that Long Bing sent over and then refine the missing parts. After that, I should be able to achieve a better result than this AS-50 sniper rifle." The AS-50 sniper rifle was recognized as the best sniper rifle in the world, but Xiaolei had the confidence and strength to challenge it. He had copied a knockoff sniper rifle that had better performance than the AS-50 sniper rifle. At this time, the bathroom's atomized glass door suddenly opened. Liang Xiao poked her wet head out. "Lazy, I dropped my soap on the floor. Help me pick it up." Charlotte was speechless. "Hurry up. There are bubbles in my eyes." "I can't see," Liang Xiao urged. Her voice was soft and full of coquettishness. Charlotte was no longer in a mood to study the gun. He got up and walked to the bathroom. Liang Xiao's body was bare. The floor of the bathroom was bare. Water vapor filled the narrow air, making everything beautiful become hazy. However, because of this, it made everything more mysterious and wonderful. Charlotte looked serious. "Where is the soap?" Liang Xiao looked straight at Charlotte. Then she reached out to pick up the soap from the soap box and threw it between her long legs. Charlotte was speechless. One person's bath became two people's bath. The whole story began when Charlotte squatted in front of Liang Xiao to pick up the soap. However, after he picked up the soap for half an hour, the soap was still on the ground. It had never been picked up. In the study, Liang Zhengchun received a phone call. "Master Liang, the martial arts circle assembly will be held 2 days in advance. I'm specially informing you." The phone call was from a staff member of the martial arts circle assembly. "Advance? Then I have to come tomorrow?" Liang Zhengchun felt a little sudden. The staff member who called said, "We don't want to. We just received a last-minute notice from above. We don't want to do this and cause you trouble." Liang Zhengchun said, "It's nothing. I'll rush over tomorrow." "Well, thank you for your understanding, Master Liang. That's all. Goodbye." The person hung up the phone. Liang Jingchun put away his phone and left the study. He walked to the door of Charlotte's room and reached out to knock on the door. The two people in the other room suddenly stopped. Liang Jingchun said, "Lazy, I just received a notice that the martial arts circle assembly will be held 2 days in advance. We will leave from Mount Amay tomorrow. We will go to the airport tomorrow morning." Charlotte hesitated for a moment. In the end, he braced himself and said, "Got it, master. I'll book the ticket right away." Only then did Liang Zhengchun realize that Charlotte was actually in Liang Xiao's room. He smiled bitterly. "Oh, then go to bed early. I'll talk to Xiao about the company. I'll go back to my room right away." Charlotte braced himself and lied. Liang Xiao, who was under him, bit her cherry lips. Her face was flushed and she was restless. Chapter 203. By evening, Liang Zhengchun, Charlotte, and Lu Shang were already at the Golden Peak Hotel on Mount Amay. This was the hotel arranged by the organizer. On the same floor, there were already many martial artists staying in the hotel. Liang Zhengchun knew some people, so he went to chat with them early. Lu Sheng also followed. It seemed that knowing some martial arts masters was one of the reasons why he came to the martial arts conference. Charlotte was bored, so he wandered alone on the Golden Peak. The Golden Peak was at dusk. The Buddha and the palace on the Golden Peak were golden, and when they were dyed by the setting sun, they suddenly shone with golden light. A sea of clouds was surging around the peak. It was not fast, but it gave people a majestic feeling as if thousands of horses were galloping. It was the first time that Charlotte had seen such a scenery, and he was shocked. Not long after, the sun sank into the sea of clouds in the west, and the light on the Golden Peak suddenly dimmed. However, the sky was blue, and the stars were like gems embedded in the sky, shining. This was another kind of scenery. In front of the beautiful scenery, Charlotte's mood was also affected. He thought to himself, "In the future, when I have time, I will bring Xiao here to have a look. She is so lively and active, so she must like to travel. She will definitely like such a beautiful scenery. Well, there is also Xia Shui. She will be on winter vacation soon. If she knows that Xiao has become my girlfriend, her future sister-in-law, she will definitely be very happy, right?" Xia Lei smiled as he thought about the interesting things in his heart. At this time, a young woman was holding a mobile phone, talking on the phone while walking to the edge of the cliff. "I don't want to listen to your explanation. I don't want to hear it." The woman looked very agitated. "I am so good. Why do you still want to be with that woman? What's so good about her? You want me to die? Okay, I will die in front of you." Sob sob. Charlotte smiled bitterly and shook his head. This was probably a woman who broke up with him because of a third party. The woman walked to the guardrail on the edge of the cliff, looked at the sea of clouds, and sobbed. Charlotte wanted to persuade her, but he thought that he did not know her at all, so he gave up the idea. But at this moment, the woman suddenly threw the phone in her hand down the cliff, then grabbed the guardrail and climbed up. Charlotte hurriedly ran up and shouted, "Miss, wait, don't do this." The woman turned around and glanced at Charlotte. Agitated, she said, "Don't come over. None of you men are good. You like the new and hate the old. Get lost." He was inexplicably scolded, but Charlotte was not angry at all. He slowly approached the woman and said comforting words to distract her. "Miss, not all men are like that. Calm down. Love is not everything in life. Think about your parents. They raised you up. How hard it was. If you jumped, how sad would they be? I don't want to hear it. Get lost. I don't want to see you." The woman cried, but her voice was not loud. At this time, it would be good if there was someone to help, but Charlotte looked around. There was no one else here except him and the woman who was about to jump off the cliff. He braced himself and continued to approach the woman. "Miss, don't be impulsive. Climb over here. Let's have a good talk. You good-looking men are all liars," the woman added. "Pervert." Charlotte smiled bitterly. "We don't even know each other. Why do you think I'm a liar and a pervert? Come over here. Don't do anything stupid. Really, you should think about your parents. Your parents gave birth to you and raised you. They're the people who love you the most in this world. If you jump, Your parents will definitely be in so much pain that they will wish they were dead." The woman finally calmed down a little. She looked at Charlotte with tears in her eyes. Her emotions were obviously not as agitated as before. Charlotte approached her carefully and reached out to grab her hand. "Come over here. I'll hold you." But at this moment, the woman suddenly pressed her foot against the bottom of the guardrail. She clasped Charlotte's hand in reverse and turned sideways to throw Charlotte down the cliff. This happened in the blink of an eye. The woman's speed, strength, and timing were all perfect. It was flawless. This was not something an ordinary woman who had fallen out of love could do. This was a meticulously planned assassination. Charlotte's body was thrown over the guardrail. He was about to fly off the woman's shoulder. If he went another foot forward, he would be in the bottomless abyss. At this critical moment, Charlotte suddenly stretched out his left hand and slapped the woman's waist. The woman's waist became his fulcrum. His posture was like a man dancing on a pole. His body was horizontal on the pole, and the woman was his pole. If the woman wanted to throw him down the cliff, she had to jump off first. The woman clearly had no intention of dying with Charlotte. Charlotte used his hand to support her waist. With a strong push, her center of gravity was already leaning toward the cliff. Instinctively, she squatted down. At the same time, she released Charlotte's right hand and reached out to grab the guardrail. Charlotte's body hit the guardrail. He pushed himself up from the guardrail and threw a punch at the head of the woman who was climbing up at the same time. The woman's eyes revealed a look of horror. There was a bottomless abyss under her feet. She did not dare take Charlotte's punch head-on. She then hid under the guardrail. Charlotte blocked the woman's way and said coldly, "Who sent you to kill me? Gu Kawu or Gu Qin? Speak." "Woo-woo. I don't know what you're talking about." "Woo-woo." The woman suddenly opened her throat and shouted, "Help! Molestation! Who's there?" A flashlight shone over. Charlotte was immediately under the flashlight's beam. He looked back. The strong light was dazzling, but it did not affect his left eye at all. At a glance, he saw 2 staff members of the scenic spot, as well as 2 people who were rushing over. They were Dong Wu and Qin Shi. Seeing these 2 people, Charlotte immediately understood what was going on. Dong Wu and Qin Shi had appeared so quickly. Obviously, they had planned it long ago. If the woman's assassination failed, they would come out to save her. Just as Charlotte turned back, the woman took the opportunity to climb over the guardrail. She cried and ran to Dong Wu. "Dad, that guy wanted to molest me." "Woo-woo-woo, Dad." Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. It turned out to be Dong Wu's daughter. The woman, who was the villain, threw herself into Dong Wu's arms and sobbed, "Dad, he molested me. Woo-woo, damn it. You even dare to molest my daughter. I will castrate you." Dong Wu pushed the woman away and rushed to Charlotte with his sword. All of this had been planned. If Dong Wu's daughter had thrown Charlotte off the cliff, Dong Wu, Qin Shi, and even the 2 staff members would not have appeared. Charlotte, who had fallen to his death, would have been considered to have accidentally fallen off the cliff, and the matter would have been left unsettled. If Dong Wu's daughter had failed, Dong Wu and Qin Shi would have come out to protect her and make a fuss about it. Even if they could not kill Charlotte, they would make Charlotte suffer the consequences. Charlotte took off the mechanical gloves that had been sprayed black by Liang Xiao from his belt. He shook them, and the box-shaped mechanical gloves suddenly unfolded. With a clicking sound, they turned into mechanical gloves that looked like the palm of a robot. After the mechanical gloves unfolded, he quickly put them on. Since the last time he was almost killed at the Great Ensemble, he would now bring his mechanical gloves wherever he went, just to be prepared for the worst. The mechanical gloves were black and integrated with the surrounding light. They did not have the luster of titanium alloy. Although Dong Wu saw that Charlotte was wearing something on his hand, he did not know what it was. Dong Wu pulled out his sword. Under the radiance of the new moon, the body of the sword suddenly flashed a cold light. Gu Kawu had spent 1 million yuan to hire a Japanese swordsmithing master to cast this sword for Dong Wu. Now is the time for Dong Wu to do something for Gu Kawu. "How dare you molest my daughter? I will make sure that you can't touch women in the future." Dong Wu's words were actually meant for the 2 staff members to hear. According to the law, crimes committed out of passion would also be given a light sentence. What's more, Charlotte molested his daughter first. Dongwu stepped forward and swung his sword to cut between Charlotte's legs. He really intended to cut off Charlotte's balls. Charlotte did not dodge. Instead, he slapped his palm at the sword that was coming at him. When the palm wearing the mechanical gloves hit the sword, there was a burst of sparks and a ding sound of metal colliding. Dongwu hurriedly withdrew his sword and looked at the blade. The blade of the sword did not show any obvious signs of damage, which made him feel a little relieved. However, the sword made by a Japanese swordsmithing master, which was worth 1 million yuan, had not been able to cut off Charlotte's palm, which also surprised him. He glanced at Charlotte's hands and was now sure that Charlotte was not wearing a nylon glove, but a pair of metal gloves. Qin-chi, Dongwu shouted and suddenly stabbed the sword at Charlotte at an extremely fast speed. Ding! Dang! Dang! Charlotte's hands blocked Dongwu's sword. Fighting in the dark, he had an unimaginable advantage over Dongwu. The mechanical gloves on his hands were also enough to deal with the sword in Dongwu's hand, which could cut iron like mud. Once again, he quickly reversed the disadvantage of having a short weapon and dealt with it with ease. The advantage of Wing Chun Kung Fu in close combat was soon revealed. Not afraid of the sword in Dongwu's hand, Charlotte's titanium alloy fists were far faster than Dongwu's sword. Moreover, he had both hands, so he had more changes and attack points. At the beginning of the fight, Dongwu was suppressing Charlotte, but in the blink of an eye, it was Charlotte who was chasing Dongwu. Qin-chi, Dongwu shouted again. This was a signal for Qin-chi to make a move. Qin-chi waved his hand, and a flying knife turned into a cold light and pierced Charlotte's chest. Charlotte was cutting into Dongwu's chest, ready to punch Dongwu in the chest. At this moment, his left eye caught a cold light flying from the side. He hurriedly pulled back his hand and blocked it with the back of his hand. Ding! A flying knife pierced the back of the metal glove, flew out, and fell off the cliff. Dongwu took the opportunity to cut Charlotte's thigh with his sword. Charlotte hurriedly retreated. His right trouser leg had been torn, and blood was flowing out of the wound. Fortunately, Dongwu had not slashed him with his sword. It was just a quick sneak attack, so he had not used much strength. Otherwise, his thigh muscles would have been cut. Qin-chi sneered. He held a flying knife in his hand, ready to make a sneak attack at any time. Boy, admit defeat. Dongwu sneered. His hand was as fast as the wind, and he stabbed Charlotte with his sword. Chapter 204. Charlotte blocked Dongwu's sword, and at the same time, he had to guard against the sneak attack of Qin-chi's flying knife. In addition, the wound on his leg affected his speed, so he was suddenly at a disadvantage. In the blink of an eye, Dongwu was forced to the guardrail at the edge of the cliff. Qin-chi's eyes had locked on Charlotte's injured thigh, and his hand holding the flying knife was slowly raised. Behind Charlotte was a cliff with no way to retreat. He was already in a very bad situation. But at this moment, a wooden stick suddenly flew across the sky and hit Qin-chi's arm that was holding the flying knife. Qin-chi felt pain in his arm, and the flying knife that was about to fly to Charlotte also fell to the ground. Qin-chi suddenly turned around and saw Liang Zhengchuan's angry face at first glance. "What are you doing?" Liang Zhengchun said angrily. "If you want to fight, fight with me." Lu Sheng, who had appeared with Liang Zhengchun, also said angrily, "Me too." Dongwu, Qin-chi, and Dongwu's daughter were 3 people. Charlotte, Liang Zhengchun, and Lu Sheng also had 3 people. They were not at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. At this time, more people came over. Some were the staff of the scenic spot, some were the non-martial artists who came to participate in the martial arts circle assembly, and the staff of the martial arts circle assembly. When there were more people, the scene suddenly became lively, and the things that could not be seen could not be continued. Dongwu took a step back and put away his sword. A middle-aged man came up and said unhappily, "What's going on? What are you doing?" He was the person in charge of the martial arts circle assembly, the chairman of the assembly, an official from the Ministry of Culture. His name was He Ping. His voice carried the majesty of a leader, and he immediately suppressed the scene. However, he only suppressed the unknown martial arts nobodies and the staff of the scenic spot. Dong Wu and Qin Shi did not care about his existence at all. Dong Wu's daughter, Dong Qingwei, cried and said, "It's him. He wanted to molest me." She pointed at Charlotte and said, "My father was so angry that he wanted to teach him a lesson." "Is this true?" He Ping asked. "It's true." One of the two staff members who had appeared with Dong Wu and Qin Shi at the beginning said, "We saw it too. He was holding the lady's hand. She was crying all the time." He Ping looked at Charlotte and said angrily, "Come here." Charlotte walked over. His wound was still bleeding, but it wasn't very serious. He just looked very pathetic. He Ping said fiercely, "Molesting women is against the law. Don't you know that?" Charlotte didn't take advantage of He Ping's imposing manner at all. He said lightly, "Look at a woman like her. I'm not blind. Why would I molest her?" Dong Qingwei was very young, but she was not beautiful. She had a big round face and two thick eyebrows. That face alone was enough to make many men flinch, not to mention that her waist was very thick, without any curves at all. Such a woman could compete with Sun Earn-Yang in the water margin. Would a man like Charlotte, who could make most women's eyes light up, molest such a woman? No way. This handsome guy is not blind. Why would he molest such a woman? A young woman who had come to watch the fun said. There was laughter all around. Dong Mingzhu was immediately irritated. She pointed at the woman who had spoken up for Charlotte and said, "What did you say? Say it again if you dare." "I said it. Do you want to fight?" The woman who had spoken up for Charlotte was tall and beautiful. She also had a big black braid that reached her buttocks. She was beautiful and had a good temperament. "Sister, if she dares to come over, I'll beat her up for you," a young man said. When have the people of the Tang sect been afraid of anything? Dong Qingwei was about to lose her temper, but Qin Shi reached out and grabbed her hand. The Tang sect in Sichuan was a big sect in martial arts novels. They were good at using hidden weapons and were very powerful. Although the martial arts sects in reality were not as exaggerated as in the novels, this was Mauname, which was the land of Sichuan. Naturally, it was also the territory of the Tang sect. Although Dong Wu and Qin Shi had the support of the Gu family, the foundation of the Gu family was not here. Qin Shi was a very smart person. He knew very well what the consequences would be if Dong Qingwei fought with the sects in Sichuan. "What? Are you tired?" The young man provoked. "Why don't we have a competition in advance?" "Humph." Dong Qingwei snorted coldly, but she did not go up. Dong Wu also put his sword back into the sheath and said loudly, "President He, this guy molested my daughter. Are you going to let it go?" Dong Wu was also a very smart person. His and Qin Shi's target was Charlotte. He did not want to provoke the people of the Tang sect in Sichuan because it was unnecessary. Therefore, he wanted to draw everyone's attention to something that did not exist. Charlotte molested his daughter. "Nonsense," Liang Zhengchun said angrily. "I know my people very well. Don't frame good people. We have witnesses. This is not a false accusation." Dong Wu insisted. He Ping looked at Charlotte and asked, "They have witnesses. What do you want to say?" Before Charlotte could speak, the woman who had spoken for him before said, "President He, look at the woman. There are no scars on her body, and her clothes are all intact. This is not molestation. This is a false accusation." The young man next to her stared at the staff who had spoken for Dong Wu and said, "Are you sure that this gentleman molested this ugly woman? If you said this after receiving money, I will not let you go." The staff of the scenic area was suddenly frightened. He stammered, I'm not sure. I didn't see clearly." Charlotte glanced at the young man and the tall and beautiful woman gratefully. He did not know them, but they had helped him like this. Although there was a quarrel between the two sides, he still felt that he owed them a big favor. Dong Wu and Qin Shi both glared at the staff of the scenic area who had changed his words after receiving money. However, they did not dare to say anything in front of so many people. "You martial arts practitioners have a bad temper. Forget it. I don't want to deal with it. If you want to continue to make trouble, Call the police and let the police solve it. He Ping said and left. He didn't want to deal with it anymore. Let's go. Dongwu also gave up. Qin Shi let go of Dong Qingyue's hand and left with Dongwu. Charlotte did not stop them. Dongwu, Qin Shi, and Dong Qingyue had set up a killing trap to assassinate him. Of course, he hated them to the core. However, he was not an impulsive person. He knew very well that there would be no result if he stopped the three people. He could not prove that the three people had set up a trap to assassinate him. On the contrary, if they insisted that he had molested Dong Qingyue, it would be a troublesome thing. If he stopped the three people, he would have to fight again. Maybe he could gain some advantages with his fists and feet, but could he kill the three people in front of so many people? Lei, are your injuries okay? Liang Zhongchun asked with concern. I'm fine. It's not serious, Charlotte said. What happened just now? Liang Zhongchun asked. He did not believe that Charlotte would molest a woman like Dong Qingyue, but he did not know why such a thing had happened. Charlotte said, Master, I'll explain it to you later. I need to thank those friends. Liang Zhongchun nodded. Charlotte walked to the young man and the woman and said politely, Thank you for just now. The tall woman smiled and said, Don't mention it. I just don't like that self-righteous woman. The young man also said with a smile, Brother, I don't believe that you would molest such a beautiful woman. We are all martial arts practitioners. Of course, we have to say something fair when we see injustice. Thank you. Charlotte reached out to the young man and said, My name is Charlotte. Let's be friends. The young man shook hands with Charlotte and said, Tang Buochuan. The tall woman also shook hands with Charlotte and said, My name is Tang Yuyan. Thank you, Miss Tang. Charlotte also smiled. Tang Yuyan chuckled and said, You're welcome. It was easy for a good-looking man to win a woman's favor. Tang Buochuan said, Brother Xia, I saw you fight just now. You practice Wing Chun, right? Charlotte nodded and said, Yes, I learned Wing Chun. Tang Yuyan said with a smile, It turns out to be Wing Chun. If there is a chance, let's have a good fight. After a pause, she said, But now you have to deal with your wound. It's bleeding. Tang Buochuan also said, Yes, Brother Xia, you'd better deal with your wound. We'll talk when we have time. Charlotte said, Okay, let's have a cup of tea when we have time. Back in the hotel room, Lu Sheng helped Charlotte bandage his wound. Liang Zhongchun looked serious and said, That guy used a weapon. Obviously, he wanted to kill you. Lei, don't hide it from me. What's going on? Only then did Charlotte tell him about Dong Wu's hesitation about Qin Shi's identity and his grievances with Gu Kewu. The only thing he didn't mention was Shinta Tianyin. Liang Zhongchun was his master and future father-in-law. It was not the same thing to tell him such things. It was enough for Liang Xiao to know. Master, you have to be careful. After briefly explaining the ins and outs of the matter, Charlotte also had his worries. The Gu family is from the underworld. They do things by hook or by crook. I'm afraid that the Gu family will retaliate against you. Humph! Liang Zhongchun sneered and said, I, Liang Zhongchun, have never been a person who is afraid of trouble. You are a member of my family. If they want to hurt you, it is equal to hurting me. Those three people at the Wulin Assembly had better not meet me. If they meet, I will seek justice for you. They were a family. That was the sentence. Charlotte's heart was full of emotion. He was indeed a member of the Liang family. After all, it was a fact that he and Liang Xiao were husband and wife. The only thing they lacked was a marriage certificate issued by the Civil Affairs Bureau. Lu Sheng also said, Count me in. Damn, Lei, your business is my business. I also can't stand that kind of despicable person. Thank you, Brother Sheng. In front of Liang Zhongchun, Charlotte naturally didn't need to say thank you. But in front of Lu Sheng, it was necessary to be polite. Lu Sheng rolled his eyes at Charlotte and said, We are from the same sect. Why are you so polite to me? If you are polite to me again, I will turn against you. Charlotte smiled and said, Okay, you are welcome. Lu Sheng said, By the way, I have something to discuss with you. Charlotte said, Brother Sheng, please say it. I don't want to be a bodyguard for Zhang Senator. I will work in your company. You can give me whatever salary you want. I will be the head of security, Lu Sheng said. Charlotte said straightforwardly, No problem. If you come, I will give you the position of head of security. I will double your salary from Zhang Sr. I don't want your double salary. He gave me 200,000 yuan, and I only want 200,000 yuan. I don't want more. Lu Sheng was too embarrassed to ask for Charlotte's double salary. He was already very happy that Charlotte accepted him. For Charlotte, it was also a good thing to have a head of security like Lu Sheng. After all, Lu Sheng was a professional bodyguard, and his martial arts were also excellent. With Lu Sheng, the security problem of the company was solved. Liang Xiao also had a bodyguard, which made him feel more at ease. Chapter 205. In the other room, Dongwu was furious. Qin Shi's face was gloomy, while Dong Qinghua looked unwilling. Why is that guy so difficult to deal with? Qin Shi broke the silence. Our plan was flawless, but he saw through it. Dongwu stared at Dong Qinghua. Tell me, how did he see through it? Dong Qinghua said, he didn't see through it before. When he saw that I was about to jump off the cliff, he kept comforting me and trying to pull me back. I followed the plan and threw him off the cliff when he tried to pull me, but his reaction was too fast. He held my waist at once. I had to die with him to throw him off the cliff. It seems that we still underestimated that guy. Dong Wu hated Charlotte so much. Qin Shi said, Child Wu treats us well, but we can't even do this well. Will he still rely on us in the future? Dong Wu was silent, and his face became gloomier. Qin Shi said, there is a competition in the martial arts circle contest. I will deal with that old man tomorrow, and you will deal with Charlotte. Dong Wu did not speak, and just nodded. At this time, Dong Qinghua's cell phone suddenly rang. Dong Wu and Qin Shi looked at Dong Qinghua at the same time. Dong Qinghua looked at the caller ID and said, It's Miss Wen. Qin Shi smiled bitterly and said, She is really impatient. She probably wants to know the result. Dong Wu sighed and said, Answer it. She came up with the plan to kill Charlotte. It's normal that she wants to know the result. Dong Qinghua slid the answer button and turned on the hands-free mode. Gu Qiuan's voice came out of the phone. Qinghua, is that guy dead? Dong Qinghua wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. Haha, he must be dead, right? My idea was so good that he must have been smashed into pieces by now, right? Gu Qiuan felt very good about herself. It was undeniable that the plan she came up with to kill Charlotte was indeed very sophisticated and thoughtful. Dong Qinghua glanced at Dong Wu and Qin Shi. She braced herself and said, Miss Wen, Charlotte is still alive. My father just stabbed him in the thigh. How is this possible? Gu Qiuan's tone was filled with surprise. Dong Qinghua said, He's too cunning. We tried our best. You guys. Gu Qiuan didn't say anything unpleasant. He paused for a moment before saying, It's okay. Even if we don't succeed this time, there will be a next time. In short, I don't want to see him return to Haizhu. I know. Don't worry, Miss Wen, Dong Qinghua said respectfully. That's all. Gu Qiuan hung up the phone. Why don't we join hands to kill him tonight and then go abroad to hide for a while? Qin Shi said, with Master's ability, he will definitely keep us safe. Dong Wu frowned. That kid is very cunning. We've already alerted him, so he'll definitely strengthen his defenses. In addition, we have already formed a feud with the people of the Tang sect in Shu. Maybe the people of the Tang sect will help us. The Tang sect has many people, and this is their territory. Our chances of success are too slim. Tang sect? Humph. Do they really think they are the originators of hidden weapons? Qin Shi snorted coldly and said disdainfully, If it's in our territory, I'll destroy their damn Tang sect. Dong Wu said, Don't think so. I've been in the underworld longer than you, so I know some details about the Tang sect in Shu. In the old days, the Tang sect was still a regular martial arts sect. They practiced martial arts and rarely showed up in public, so they always seemed very mysterious. But now the times have changed. Some of the core members of the Tang sect have entered the army and become instructors or officers. Some have entered the business world and made a lot of money in the 30 years since the reform and opening up. No one knows how rich the Tang sect is. Such a big, ancient family and martial arts sect with a long history. Even Master doesn't dare to deal with it. What ability do you and I have to shake it? There's a saying that ants were trying to shake a tree, but Dongwu didn't say it out loud. Qin Shi was a little unconvinced, but he also thought that Dongwu's words made sense. At this moment, Dong Qingyue's cell phone suddenly rang again. Dong Qingyue still turned on the speakerphone and answered Gu Qian's call. "Miss Wen, what's the matter?" Gu Qian's voice came from the phone. "I just found out that there's an American in this martial arts society assembly. His name is Bruce Dragon. This man claims to be the successor of Bruce Lee and claims that he is the orthodox Wing Chun master. Before he came to this martial arts society assembly, he said that he would challenge all the Wing Chun masters on the mainland. Isn't that guy learning Wing Chun? Do you know what to do?" Dong Qingyue sneered and said, "I see. I'll go and find Bruce Dragon right away." It was Gu Qian's voice. Remember, boast about Charlotte very much. "Oh, and Charlotte's master, Liang Zhengchun. Hurry up, his room is 202. "I'll remember, Miss One. Just wait for our good news." Dong Qingyue hung up. Dongwu laughed and said, "This is really interesting. I just don't know if that American is powerful or not." Qin Shi said, "Bruce Lee also learned Wing Chun at first, but he later created Jeet Kune Do on the basis of Wing Chun. If that American named Bruce Lee is really Bruce Lee's successor, I think he must have real kung fu. Let's go and meet him. It's not a loss." Dong Qingyue also laughed. "What did Charlotte do?" "Miss Wen, you miss him so much. Those who are missed by Miss Wen never have a good ending." "Qingyue, there's a saying that goes, the evils you bring upon yourself are the hardest to bear. Let's go and meet that Bruce Dragon," said Dongwu. The three of them came to room 202. Dongwu reached out and knocked on the door. The door opened, and a blonde beauty in a sports bikini stood behind the door. The blonde beauty said in English, "Who are you?" "What's the matter?" Dong Qingyue said in English, "We are friends who came here because of your reputation. We are looking for Mr. Bruce Dragon. We have something very important to discuss with Mr. Bruce Dragon. Please inform him of our arrival." "Something very important?" The blonde beauty didn't inform them. Dong Qingyue said, "It's related to Wing Chun." Upon hearing this, the blonde opened the door completely and retreated to the side. "Please come in." Dongwu, Dong Qingyue, and Qin Shi entered the room. There were 2 beds and a bathroom in the room, but there was no one in the room. The bathroom door was open, and there was no one inside. Dongwu and Qin Shi suddenly raised their heads at the same time, and their eyes moved to the corner of the wall beside the door. In the corner, a mixed-race Eurasian youth in sports shorts used his hands and feet to support himself against the wall on both sides. He was like a spider sticking to the ceiling. There was no excess fat on his body, and his terrifying muscles were no less than the founder of Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee. Dongwu, Dong Qingyue, and Qin Shi were all dumbfounded. Dongwu, Dong Qingyue, and Qin Shi couldn't do such a move. They thought that such a move could only be done by someone whose body was strong to the extreme. The mixed-race Eurasian man was Bruce Dragon, which was only one word different from Bruce Lee's name. At this moment, Bruce Dragon suddenly fell from the ceiling and punched Qin Shi, who was standing on the ground. His posture was like an eagle pouncing on its prey, making it impossible for Qin Shi to escape his attack range. Qin Shi braced himself and punched back. Bang! The 2 fists collided with each other. Tap, tap, tap. Qin Shi took 3 steps back before he could stop himself. His heart was filled with shock. Bruce Dragon landed on his feet and said in fluent Chinese, "I am Bruce Dragon. Which one of you is a Wing Chun practitioner?" Dongwu, Qin Shi, and Dong Qingyue suddenly smiled. The dawn dispelled the darkness, but the golden peak of Mount Amei was still covered with clouds and fog. The sunlight could not reach the ground for a long time. However, this did not affect the convening of the Martial Arts Circle Convention. After breakfast, the chairman of the convention, He Ping, summoned all the people who came to participate in the Martial Arts Circle Convention to a large conference room in the hotel. Charlotte and Lu Sheng followed Liang Zhengchun to the conference room. When the 3 of them arrived, there were already a lot of people in the conference room. Liang Zhengchun greeted the people he knew. When he met those who were on good terms with him, he deliberately introduced Charlotte to them. He almost said to the martial arts people he knew, "This is my son-in-law." After a night of rest and recovery, the wound on Charlotte's right leg was no longer painful or bleeding. However, because the wound was relatively deep, his right leg was slightly lame. "Mr. Xia, is your leg all right?" A woman's voice suddenly came. Charlotte looked in the direction of the voice and saw that it was Tang Yuyan, who had helped him last night. She was sitting with her brother, Tang Buochuan, who was also looking at him with a smile. Last night, he did not carefully look at the brother and sister. Only now did he realize that Tang Yuyan was a beautiful woman with fair skin. Her skin was white and delicate, as if she was made of pearl powder and dough. Tang Buochuan was also gentle and handsome, with a different kind of elegance. He did not look like a person who practiced martial arts, but a painter or a photographer. He looked like an artist. "I'm fine, thank you." Charlotte also greeted him. "Come and have a seat." Tang Buochuan took the initiative to invite the three of them. "Master, do you want to have a seat?" Charlotte asked for Liang Zhengchuan's opinion. Liang Zhengchun nodded and said, "Then let's have a seat. She helped us, so it would be impolite not to go." The three of them sat down next to the brother and sister of the Tang family. Liang Zhengchun also took the initiative to say hello to the brother and sister of the Tang family. Then, Charlotte also chatted with the brother and sister of the Tang family. Charlotte also liked to make friends. The brother and sister of the Tang family were both very outstanding people. Of course, he was willing to make more such friends. After a few words, Dong Wu, Dong Qingwei, and Qin Shi also came in from the door of the conference room. Seeing the three of them, there was a trace of anger in Charlotte's eyes. "I don't know how these three guys joined. Why are such scumbags being invited to the martial arts circle assembly this time?" Tang Yuyan frowned. She especially hated Dong Qingwei, who had a bucket-like waist. At this time, Bruce Dragon, who was a quarter Asian, also walked in from the door of the conference room. He sat with Dong Qingwei, Dong Wu, and Qin Shi, who had come in first. Dong Qingwei whispered something to Bruce Dragon. Then Bruce Dragon's gaze shifted to Xia Lei and Liang Zhengchun. Chapter 206. If there was no display of kung fu and competition in the Wulin Assembly, it would be like a wine party without beauties and wine. It would not be a Wulin Assembly at all. If there was a competition, there must be an arena. This arena was set on the platform of the Golden Top. The participants of the Wulin Assembly came out of the hotel conference room and came to the Golden Top platform. The representatives of each sect went to the stage to show their kung fu. Many media reporters gathered under the arena, and there was a live broadcast from Shuda TV station. The scene was very lively. The previous Wulin Assembly had been a failure. Those who came to participate were all people who were paid to show their faces. Those people had no real kung fu, but they were good at bragging. The kung fu they showed was also superficial, which made the Wulin Assembly a joke and kung fu a joke. This time, the Ministry of Culture was determined to do a good job, so they made an open and secret visit and invited people who had real kung fu. Now, a Shaolin monk was showing Shaolin Wuha boxing on the arena. His punches were loud, and his movements were agile. He was good at both offense and defense, which made people praise him. Representatives of various sects went to the arena one after another to show their kung fu. Wudong's Tai Chi, Amei's swordsmanship, Hong Quan, Xingyiquan, and other sects showed their real kung fu. Liang Zhengchun, as a representative of Wing Chun boxing, also went to the arena and showed the real Wing Chun boxing. Wing Chun Kung Fu is not fierce, but the Wing Chun Kung Fu demonstrated by Liang Zhengchun has a pleasing flavor. In the arena, he was like Ip Man in the movies, with the extraordinary temperament of a master. After Liang Zhengchun finished a set of boxing, he cupped his hands and saluted. There was a sudden applause under the stage. Bruce Dragon suddenly stood up from his seat, sprinted forward, and jumped into the arena with one leap. A blonde beauty also climbed the stairs of the arena with a shoulder-mounted camera. The camera on her shoulder was turned on, and she was filming Bruce Dragon and Liang Zhengchun. Who is this foreigner? What is he doing on the stage? Tang Yuyin frowned. She felt that the foreigner was impolite. Tang Buochuan said, "Do you need to ask? He must be going to make trouble for Master Lei." Xiaolei suddenly recalled the scene where Dong Qingwei whispered something to the foreigner in the arena in the conference room, and then the foreigner stared at him and Liang Zhengchun. At that time, Dong Qing covered her mouth when she spoke, so he couldn't see her lips at all. But when he was about to use his X-ray vision, Dong Qingwei had already finished speaking, so he didn't have a chance to read her words with her lips. Now, it seemed that what she had said to this foreigner was definitely not something good. Tang Yuyin saw Charlotte stand up and looked nervous. She said, "Mr. Xia, please sit down. Your master can deal with a foreigner. He's just asking to be humiliated by challenging your master." Lu Sheng also said, "Yes, don't you believe in master's strength? That kid is just waiting to be beaten." Only then did Xia Lei sit down, but there was a faint trace of worry in his heart. Sure enough, in the ring, Bruce Dragon said loudly, "Liang Zhengchun, your Wing Chun is like a child's exercise. The real Wing Chun is not Yin Wing Chun's boxing, but Bruce Lee's boxing. I can beat you easily. Do you dare to fight with me?" Liang Zhengchun furrowed his brows. The foreigner had said that his Wing Chun was a child's exercise, but he had even said that Yin Wing Chun's Wing Chun was not authentic. This had touched his sore spot. "I'm Bruce Dragon." Bruce Dragon glanced at the martial arts people under the ring and said contemptuously, "I'm from the United States. I believe in Japanese judo, Korean taekwondo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and American boxing, but I don't believe in Chinese kung fu. Your kung fu is all deceptive. It looks good, but it's useless." There was a burst of curses under the ring. He Ping, the chairman of the conference, also looked extremely gloomy. The Martial Arts Circle Conference had cost the Ministry of Culture a lot of manpower and material resources, and it had been a success so far. But since this man who called himself Bruce Dragon came on stage, things had changed. This was a live broadcast. Damn it, where did this yellow-haired bastard come from? I'll fight you. A burly middle-aged man rushed to the ring. "Hong Quan Mahjong." Bruce Dragon smiled contemptuously and said to Liang Zhengchun, "Liang Zhengchun, wait for me for 30 seconds. I'll finish him off, and then I'll finish you." How arrogant was he to defeat a representative of Hong Quan in 30 seconds? Off the stage, a police officer in charge of security for the Martial Arts Circle Conference said to He Ping, "Chairman He, should we arrest this guy?" He Ping shook his head. "He's an American. If we arrest him without a valid reason, it will cause international disputes. Besides, this is a live broadcast. This guy has said so many insulting words. If we let him off the stage, the conference will be ruined. Let them fight. This guy thinks that no one in China can beat him. He'll regret it." On the stage, Mahjong suddenly rushed forward and punched Bruce Dragon's head with a fist as big as a bowl. Bruce Dragon blocked it with his elbow and swept his leg at the back of Mahjong's leg. This movement had the shadow of Wing Chun boxing, but it was faster and fiercer than Wing Chun boxing. When Mahjong's fist hit Bruce Dragon's elbow, Bruce Dragon's right foot also swept the back of Mahjong's leg at the same time. With a dull thud, Mahjong felt pain and hurriedly retreated. Bruce Dragon suddenly rushed forward and punched with both fists. His fists were like shooting stars in the night sky, each punch faster than the one before. Each of his fists bombarded Mahjong's arms that were protecting his chest, causing Mahjong to retreat in defeat again and again. Bruce Dragon suddenly withdrew his fist and kicked sideways. His foot went through Mahjong's arms that were protecting his chest and hit Mahjong's chest hard. Mahjong let out a blood-curdling scream. His entire person was kicked flying, and then he fell off the stage. The audience was in an uproar. Bruce Dragon touched his nose with his thumb and said contemptuously, "I've counted 20 seconds. He's weaker than I thought." He suddenly raised his hand and pointed at Liang Zhengchun. "I hope you can hold on for 2 minutes." His movements and his tone were like Bruce Lee's. Liang Zhengchun said coldly, "Young man, You're too arrogant. Off the stage, Dong Wu said loudly, Master Liang, why are you talking so much nonsense? He said that your Wing Chun is not authentic. Why don't you fight with him? Qin Shi also said, yes, why don't you fight with him? Is your Wing Chun really not authentic? Hearing this, even Xia Lei wanted to rush over and beat up Dong Wu and Qin Shi, let alone Liang Zhengchun, who bore the brunt of the attack. Come on. Liang Zhengchun disdained to quarrel with people like Dong Wu and Qin Shi. He made the starting gesture of Wing Chun to ask for directions. Bruce Dragon suddenly rushed at Liang Zhengchun, and the two of them fought in an instant. Liang Zhengchun's Wing Chun was both offensive and defensive, and it was unpredictable. Bruce Dragon was faster and fiercer, and he was extremely ferocious. For a moment, the two of them were evenly matched, and no one could do anything to the other. Everyone's eyes were focused on Liang Zhengchun and Bruce Dragon, but the most nervous person was Charlotte. Others only saw the fight between the two of them, but he saw far more content than others. With his left eye, he could see the movement of every muscle and bone in Bruce Dragon's body. What he saw was not a normal person, but a powerful humanoid machine. However, Liang Zhengchun's situation was getting worse. After all, Liang Zhengchun was an old man, and he was not as strong as Bruce Dragon. His physical strength was not as strong as Bruce Dragon's, and he was losing his strength quickly. Under such circumstances, if Liang Zhengchun had punched Bruce Dragon twice, Bruce Dragon would have been able to withstand it. However, if Bruce had punched him once, he would have been unable to withstand it. Sure enough, Bruce Dragon soon realized this. He even gave up defending and directly attacked Liang Zhengchun. When Liang Zhengchun hit him, he did not defend, but attacked, exchanging punches with punches. His advantage was speed. If Liang Zhengchun hit him twice, he would definitely be able to hit Liang Zhengchun once. There was no boxing technique in the world that did not attack. If one wanted to attack, one would inevitably leave an opening. Facing an opponent like Bruce Dragon, who was extremely fast and had a strong body, Liang Zhengchun was at his wit's end. Bang! After another punch, Liang Zhengchun hit Bruce Dragon's chest, and Bruce Dragon's fist hit Liang Zhengchun's chest. Bruce Dragon's body only shook a little, but Liang Zhengchun staggered 2 steps back. He missed his kick and fell out of the ring. Charlotte rushed up and supported Liang Zhengchun. In the ring, Bruce Dragon rubbed his nose with his thumb and said contemptuously, "What authentic Wing Chun? It's just a child's exercise." The blonde beauty who was filming said with a smile, "Bruce, I will put the video on the world's largest video website so that everyone in the world can see it." Dong Wu laughed and said, "Liang Zhengchun, I always thought you were very powerful, but I didn't expect you to be pretending." Ha ha ha. Xia Lei's heart suddenly ignited with anger. He said, "Master, take a break. I'll fight him." Liang Zhengchun grabbed him and said, "Don't be arrogant. You're no match for him even if your leg is not injured, not to mention that your leg is injured." Charlotte said, "Master, they insulted you, which is equivalent to insulting me. What's more, they also insulted our Wing Chun. Let me go up there. I will teach him how to be a man." Liang Zhengchun hesitated. He was very clear about Charlotte's strength. Charlotte couldn't even beat him, so how could he beat Bruce Dragon, who was stronger than him? However, Charlotte was full of confidence at this moment. Based on his understanding of Charlotte, Charlotte was not an impulsive and irrational person. If Charlotte was not sure, he would definitely not go up there to humiliate himself. However, he couldn't figure out where Charlotte got his confidence from. Just as Liang Zhengchun was hesitating about whether to agree with Charlotte, Charlotte had already jumped into the ring. Bruce Dragon's eyes fell on Charlotte. He glanced at him and then moved his eyes to Dong Qingyue. Dong Qingyue nodded at him, and then a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. "My master is old and in poor health," Charlotte said. "Fight with me and let me teach you what Wing Chun is. I will also teach you how to be a man." Bruce Dragon said lightly, "I heard that Liang Zhengchun has a very powerful disciple named Charlotte. Are you Charlotte?" Xia Lei said, "You should call me Grandmaster Xia, because even Bruce Lee was just a disciple of the Wing Chun branch. In the Wing Chun branch, my seniority is the same as Bruce Lee's, so you should probably call me Grandmaster. Ha ha! Well said. Tang Yuyin clapped her hands and said with a smile, Mr. Xia, you should teach your disciple a lesson. He is an uneducated barbarian. There was a burst of laughter under the ring. There was a flash of hatred in Bruce Dragon's eyes. At this moment, he suddenly rushed at Charlotte. Chapter 207. In the ring, Charlotte and Bruce Dragon were fighting. Most people thought that this would be an evenly matched battle, but unfortunately, it was not. Charlotte just defended. No matter how Bruce Dragon attacked him, he did not attack. He was always on the defensive. Bruce Dragon was very fast, but Charlotte's left eye could capture fast-moving objects, so he could always tell where Bruce Dragon was going to attack him. If he could dodge, he would dodge. If he couldn't, he would use the defensive moves of Wing Chun boxing to defend himself. Charlotte was younger than Liang Zhengchun. Although his body was not as strong as Bruce Dragon's, he was still very strong and could take a lot of hits. Moreover, he always used his elbows or knees, the hardest part of his body, to block Bruce Dragon's punches and kicks. Last time, Dongwu was able to injure him because he had a sword in his hand. He did not dare to fight head-on, so he could only dodge. This time, Bruce Dragon was using his fists and kicks. He was not afraid to fight head-on, so he could only deal with Dongwu's moves. Coupled with the ability of his left eye, he looked calm and composed. Although he only defended and did not attack, he did not look embarrassed at all. After attacking Charlotte for 3 minutes in a row, Bruce Dragon did not gain any advantage. He felt a little embarrassed. You only defend and do not attack. What kind of Wing Chun boxing is this? Charlotte said disdainfully, You can't beat me if I don't attack. If I attack, can you stand it? F***CK. Bruce Dragon cursed. At this time, Dongwu suddenly said, His right leg is injured. Bruce Dragon's eyes suddenly fell on Charlotte's right leg, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. The audience suddenly cursed. Dongwu pretended not to hear it. He just looked at Charlotte on the ring with a sneer. Suddenly, Bruce Dragon swept his right leg toward Charlotte's right thigh. Charlotte lifted his right leg up and pushed his right knee forward, immediately colliding with Bruce Dragon's right instep. Under the huge impact, Charlotte took a step back. Humph! Let's see how long you can last. Bruce Dragon took a step forward and kicked Charlotte's injured leg again. Charlotte used the same method to block, and he was kicked back again. Below the stage, Dong Qinghua sneered and said, He won't last a minute. As long as his injured leg is kicked by Bruce Dragon, he won't be able to last any longer. Dongwu said, According to our agreement, Bruce Dragon will severely injure Charlotte, and then, humph. While the father and daughter were talking, Bruce Dragon kicked Charlotte twice, forcing Charlotte to take 2 steps back. If he moved forward a little more, he would be at the edge of the stage. Charlotte would have nowhere to retreat to. Lie down, Bruce Dragon roared. He turned sideways and kicked Xia Lei's injured leg. The strength of this kick was much greater than the previous kicks. That speed, that strength, his legs seemed to be made of steel. This time, Xia Lei did not use his knee to hit the back of Bruce Dragon's foot. Instead, he suddenly leaped forward, brushed past Bruce Dragon's leg, and instantly cut into the gap between Bruce Dragon's chest. He punched Bruce Dragon's chest. The second phalanx of his middle finger protruded out of the flat surface of his fist, and the hard phalanx hit the Shanzhong acupoint on Bruce Dragon's chest like a steel bar. The Bruce Dragon's body was very strong, far surpassing that of an ordinary human. However, his body was still made of flesh and blood. It was not made of steel or nylon, and the Shanzhong acupoint was also a very important acupoint in the human body. When it was suddenly struck by Xia Lei, his body would naturally have a reaction. The moment the Shanzhong acupoint on his chest was hit, Bruce Dragon's heart beat wildly, and his breathing suddenly became tense. When the heart and lung function was disrupted, the brain was the first to be affected. If the brain did not receive enough blood and oxygen, the brain would not be able to function normally. Dizziness and blurred vision were inevitable, and slow reactions were also inevitable. However, this was just the beginning. The pain that followed made even a strong man like Bruce Dragon scream in pain. Then he fell to the ground. Charlotte had once used a silver needle to pierce the Japanese female assassin Mai Sawada's Shanzhong acupoint. Mai Sawada, who had received professional pain training, could not last more than a minute. This showed the importance of the Shanzhong acupoint. At this moment, he focused all his strength on the second phalanx of his right fist and accurately hit Bruce Dragon's Shanzhong acupoint. This was even more terrifying than when he tortured my Sawada with silver needles. The Bruce Dragon screamed and fell to the ground. The audience was so quiet that a pin drop could be heard. Just a second ago, Bruce Dragon was chasing after Charlotte. Charlotte was at a disadvantage, and almost no one thought he could last more than a minute. But in the blink of an eye, Bruce Dragon fell to the ground. Who could believe such a turn of events? Charlotte walked over and kicked Bruce Dragon's lower abdomen. Bruce Dragon did not even have the strength to dodge. He took Charlotte's kick head-on. His whole body slid several meters away along the carpet of the ring. Charlotte walked toward Bruce Dragon. The blonde beauty who had been recording suddenly ran over and stood in front of Charlotte. She begged in broken Chinese, "No, no, no." Xia Lei had wanted to kick the Bruce Dragon a few more times. The anger he had accumulated in his heart was enough for him to do so. However, when he saw the Bruce Dragon lying on the ground, whimpering in a low voice, his anger slowly subsided. Bruce Dragon had already been defeated and punished. Continuing to beat up a person who was lying on the ground without the ability to fight back was not a graceful thing to do. Charlotte said, "Go back to the United States. Let me tell you something. China has a history of 5,000 years. It has a vast territory and abundant resources. There are many capable people that you have never seen. Don't think that you are invincible just because you can beat a few people." Bruce Dragon looked at Charlotte with a painful expression, but there was no humiliation or hatred in his eyes. Charlotte turned to face the audience. He suddenly lifted Dong Wu and said in a stern voice, "Dong Wu, come up. I'll fight with you." Everyone's eyes were focused on Dong Wu. Dong Wu suddenly stood up, but he just stood up. He did not take a step into the ring. Charlotte had beaten the arrogant Bruce Dragon to the ground. It was not hard to imagine what would happen if he went up. Moreover, he was sure that once he was defeated by Xia Lei, even if the most beautiful woman in the world begged for mercy on his behalf, Xia Lei would definitely not show any mercy. He would beat him up so badly that even his own daughter, Dong Qingwei, would not be able to recognize him. Charlotte said again, "Come up. Haven't you been hiding under the ring and grumbling? People like you don't deserve to practice martial arts. You don't even have the slightest moral character of a martial arts practitioner. Come up, and I'll teach you a lesson." Dong Wu's old face suddenly turned the color of a pig's liver. He was able to stab Xia Lei last night because he thought that Qin Shi had attacked Xia Lei with a flying knife. However, if Qin Shi were to do that in front of so many people without a forest, even if the police didn't arrest him, these people would beat Qin Shi up so badly that even his parents wouldn't be able to recognize him. If he went up to the ring, he would be beaten and humiliated. If he didn't go up to the ring, he would be humiliated. In fact, Dong Wu had already made up his mind. He smiled and said, "Charlotte, I won't argue with you. Your leg is injured. Maybe next time. I'll fight with you next time, so that others won't say that I won unfairly." F***CKU. Tang Buchuan suddenly stood up, pointed at Dong Wu's nose, and scolded, "You old man, how can you be so shameless? If you don't dare to accept the challenge, just say it. Why are you pretending to be an expert?" The audience immediately laughed at him. Some people scolded him for being shameless, while others scolded him for being shameless. Just now, Bruce Dragon had looked down on all the people in the martial arts world. When Charlotte went up to fight Bruce Dragon, Dong Wu had reminded Bruce Dragon that Charlotte's right leg was injured. At that time, he had already angered everyone. Now that they had a chance to scold him, who would not want to scold him? Most of the people who practiced martial arts were not elegant people. Their curses were as unpleasant as they could be. Some particularly rude people even openly cursed Dong Wu's deceased mother. Even Dong Qingwei, who had a bucket-like waist, was not spared. Curses such as F*** and F*** surged toward Dong Wu, Dong Qingwei, and Qin Shi like a tide. In this situation, as long as Dong Wu, Dong Qingwei, and Qin Shi dared to say anything back, there would definitely be a group fight. What was a street rat? At that moment, Dong Wu, Dong Qingwei, and Qin Shi were street rats. The crowd hated these three people far more than they hated Bruce Dragon. Let's go. Dong Wu could not stay for another second. Qin Shi and Dong Qingwei did not say anything. They got up and followed Dong Wu out of the venue. Charlotte said loudly, Dong Wu, Qin Shi, tell your master that it's not that we don't want to avenge him, but it's not time yet. Dong Wu and Qin Shi looked back at Charlotte with extremely cold eyes. At that moment, Bruce Dragon finally caught his breath. He struggled to get up and walk to Charlotte's side. What kind of boxing skill did you use to defeat me just now? Charlotte did not even bother to say a word to him. He turned around and left the stage. Master, let's go, Charlotte said to Liang Zhengchun. Liang Zhengchun patted Charlotte on the shoulder and said, Okay, let's go home. You've shown off the power of Wing Chun. When we go back, I'll ask Xiao to cook a few dishes and we'll have a few drinks. Well, okay. Liang Xiao seemed to be a good medicine. When he heard her name, Charlotte felt much better. But you're not allowed to cook for her. You'll spoil her, Liang Zhengchun suddenly said. Charlotte smiled awkwardly, but did not say anything. At this time, he could promise Liang Zhengchun that he would not help Liang Xiao cook, but if Liang Xiao asked him to help, he would definitely help. He never easily made promises that he could not do. At this time, a large group of reporters came up and took pictures of Charlotte and Liang Zhengchun. Some reporters handed microphones and recording pens to interview them. On the other side, Tang Yuyin put her head close to Tang Buchuan's ear and whispered, Do you want to invite him to our house? Tang Buchuan smiled and said, No hurry. It's not good to be anxious. Tang Yuyin glared at Tang Buchuan. Her arrogant eyes seemed to express what she wanted to say. Tang Buchuan lowered his voice and said, We'll have to spend time together in the future. We also know where he lives and what he does. Are you still worried that you can't find him? At this time, Charlotte and Liang Zhengchun had already squeezed through the reporters who surrounded them and left with Lu Sheng. Tang Yuyin looked at Charlotte's receding figure, and a mysterious smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Chapter 208. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. Charlotte walked out of the kitchen with a bowl of tomato pork ribs soup in his hand. He invited Liang Zhengchun and Liang Xiao to eat. Liang Zhengchun shook his head with a bitter smile. He realized that his prestige as a master was far less than his daughter's. He instructed Liang Xiao to cook, and Liang Xiao instructed Charlotte to cook. Then the food was ready. The three of them sat around the table, drinking and eating. It was a lively scene. Liang Xiao scooped a piece of chicken kidney from a pot of braised chicken and put it into Charlotte's bowl with her chopsticks. You're injured. Eat more to nourish your body. Looking at the white chicken kidney in the bowl, Charlotte did not feel good. His leg was injured. What was the point of eating a chicken kidney? Liang Xiao picked up a piece of potato and put it into Liang Zhengchun's bowl. Dad, eat more vegetables. Liang Zhengchun rolled his eyes at Liang Xiao. Liang Xiao, on the other hand, was happy. I wish I was there to see you defeat that arrogant American. You must have been very handsome then. Charlotte smiled bitterly. He knew very well how dangerous it was. In terms of real strength, he could not even defeat Liang Zhengchun. How could he defeat Bruce Dragon, who had defeated Liang Zhengchun? He had defeated Bruce Dragon entirely by relying on the ability of his left eye and his research on acupuncture points. In fact, when Liang Zhengchun and Bruce Dragon were fighting in the arena, he had already thought of attacking Bruce Dragon's Shanzhong acupuncture point because it was the easiest acupuncture point to attack and could be defeated in one move. Later, when he got on the arena, he showed weakness and only defended. He had been looking for an opportunity to attack. Later, Dongwu reminded Bruce Dragon that his right leg was injured, so Bruce Dragon focused on attacking his injured leg. Dongwu also let Bruce Dragon attack his injured leg continuously. When Bruce Dragon completely let go of his attack, Dongwu suddenly launched an attack and hit Bruce Dragon's Shanzhong acupoint to end the fight. During this process, if he had made a slight mistake, he could have been knocked down by Bruce Dragon. The consequences would have been unpredictable. However, he could not tell Liang Zhengchun or Liang Xiao about this process. Liang Zhengchun looked at Xiaolei. By the way, Lei, Lu Sheng was there when we came back, so it's not convenient for me to tell you. We're a family now, so tell me, how did you defeat that American? Charlotte stretched out his right fist and showed the second phalanx of his middle finger. I hit his Shanzhong acupuncture point with this fist, and he fell. Acupoint. Liang Zhengchun looked very surprised. I don't know how to do it, but you learned it. Charlotte said with a smile, Master, I'm studying Chinese medicine. There are books on acupuncture in your study. I've read them and learned acupuncture. I know what will happen if I hit that acupuncture point. So, I didn't learn acupoint kung fu. I just applied the principles of acupuncture to Wing Chun. Liang Xiao also said, Dad, Lazy learns things very fast. He can make the most advanced machine tools in Germany with his hands. By the way, he also cured Shinatianin's father. He had been paralyzed for 3 years, and he cured him with acupuncture. He is so good, so it's not surprising that he can integrate the principles of acupuncture into our Wing Chun. Liang Xiao had witnessed too many miraculous things from Xiaolei, so she wasn't surprised. She just felt quite proud. Liang Zhengchun pondered for a moment, and then a smile appeared on his face. I knew your learning ability, but I didn't expect it to be so strong. So, it's not surprising that you can apply the principles of acupuncture to Wing Chun. He picked up the glass and said, You did a good job. Let me propose a toast to you. Before Charlotte drank, Liang Xiao said, Dad, let him drink less. It's not good to drink too much. Would it affect anything if he drank too much? Such a hesitant sentence made one's imagination run wild. However, Charlotte still drank. Even if Liang Xiao didn't like the smell of alcohol in his mouth, Charlotte still had to drink the toast from his master. At worst, he could chew a piece of xylitol when he kissed. After dinner, Liang Zhengchun went back to his room early. It had nothing to do with his habit of going to bed early. He just didn't want to be a third wheel. He was very satisfied with Charlotte's character and other aspects. This time, Charlotte stood up for him and challenged Bruce Dragon regardless of the danger. He liked Charlotte even more. Now, he was not the least bit dissatisfied. Being able to entrust his daughter to such a man, how could a father not be happy? Liang Xiao went to the kitchen to wash the dishes, while Charlotte used her laptop to look up knowledge about firearms in her room. The martial arts conference was over, and his mind returned to modifying the sniper rifle for Long Bing. If he needed anything, he could just tell Long Bing, and Long Bing would do it for him. If Long Bing needed his help, he would naturally do his best. It wasn't difficult for him to modify a superb sniper rifle, but the instruction manual provided by Long Bing was definitely not enough. Most of the content about modifying firearms on Baidu's search engine was related to the game. The knowledge about modifying firearms in the game definitely couldn't be used in reality. After that, he gave up and searched for more knowledge about sniper rifles. This time, he found a way. The search engine provided rich and professional content. From this knowledge, he could understand the working principle of sniper rifles, as well as the performance index of various sniper rifles, their structure, and so on. With this knowledge, he would be able to understand sniper rifles better, and it would be much easier for him to modify them. After looking at the content related to sniper rifles for a while, his phone suddenly rang. Charlotte took out his phone and looked at it. A smile immediately appeared on his face. He swiped the answer button and said, Hey, where the hell have you been all this time? Close training. I'm dying of exhaustion and I'm tanned. Let me tell you, our instructor is super perverted. I'm starting to wonder if she's mentally ill. Jiang Rui's voice came from the phone. It was like an open tap, flowing nonstop. He hadn't heard her nagging for a long time, and Charlotte felt a very warm feeling in his heart. He listened very patiently, interrupting from time to time. He seemed to be enjoying it. After saying a lot of nonsense, Jiang Rui suddenly changed the topic. Where the hell have you been? I've been knocking for a long time, but no one answered. If you don't open the door, I'm going to pour paint on your door. Charlotte laughed. Do you have paint? No. Jiang Rui snorted. I can buy it, or else I'll pour my soy sauce on your door. Charlotte was speechless. She was still the same. She hadn't changed after such a long period of close training. He didn't know if her instructor was crazy, but Charlotte believed that her instructor must have had frequent headaches. Tell me, where have you been? I haven't seen you for a long time. I want to see you and scold you. Charlotte smiled bitterly. You want to see me because you want to scold me? Jiang Rui said in a matter-of-fact tone. Of course, I feel uncomfortable not scolding you for such a long time. Tell me, am I being too nice to you? Her logic was godlike. Charlotte didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Actually, I wanted to tell you a piece of good news. Are you going to buy me a good car or a big house? Jiang Rui giggled on the other end. If you like, I could buy you a house. Really, I have earned a sum of money. I have always wanted to give you something, but unfortunately, you are not here. Charlotte said, it's really good news. I want a house, I want a car, I want... In short, bye. Jiang Rui looked very excited. Charlotte smiled and said, this is not the good news I want to tell you. Then what is it? I am in love with Liang Xiao He. Charlotte said with a smile. Now you won't say that I can't find a partner, right? What did you say? Jiang Rui's voice was abnormal. I said that I am in love with Liang Xiao, and I am at her house now. Are you happy? I'm happy your head. You pervert, smelly b*****. I want to break up with you. Hello. Charlotte was stunned on the spot. He didn't know what to do. However, Jiang Rui had already hung up the phone. Charlotte was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses. He said to himself, why did she get angry with me for no reason? However, he didn't care about Jiang Rui saying that he would break up with her. From childhood to adulthood, Jiang Rui had broken up with him at least 1,000 times, but the longest time was only 3 days. That time, she took the initiative to seduce him and talk to her with a piece of ice cream. Thinking about this kind of thing was very warm and interesting. At this time, Liang Xiao came in from the door and said with a smile, who are you talking to? Charlotte said, Jiang Rui, she is back. A strange light flashed in Liang Xiao's eyes, but she pretended to be indifferent. Oh, it's your neighbor. She doesn't know that we are already together, right? Charlotte said, she knows. I told her, but she doesn't seem happy. A smile suddenly appeared on Liang Xiao's face. She climbed onto Charlotte's lap, who was sitting on the sofa, and then pressed her whole upper body against Charlotte's. She whispered in his ear, let's not talk about her. You weren't by my side last night, and I missed you all night. Her softness, her charming smell, her long legs, and the faintly discernible charming spring scenery made Charlotte's lower abdomen suddenly hot. It felt like a quietly burning flame, which made his mouth dry and made him restless, eager to do something. Let's go to bed. Charlotte's resistance to Liang Xiao was almost zero. Liang Xiao smiled and said, I'm very happy today. I want to reward you. Reward? Charlotte looked at her, puzzled. Liang Xiao slowly slid down his body. Her body was so soft, as if she didn't have any bones. After a soft thud, Liang Xiao buried her head into the ground. Charlotte's mouth suddenly opened wide, like a fish out of oxygen. This was the first time in his life that he had watched a famous television program, a delicacy on the tip of the tongue. At the same time, Jiang Rui took a bottle of soy sauce and poured it on Charlotte's door. Then, she took out 2 sanitary pads and pasted them on Charlotte's door. Then, she looked at the messy door she had messed up and silently shed tears. Love was like this. When someone tasted the taste of happiness, there was bound to be someone who would touch the pain in a corner. Chapter 209. The next morning, Charlotte and Liang Xiao arrived at the company. Charlotte had a morning meeting to learn about the company's participation in the expo, as well as the preparation of raw materials for the new product, the automatic skateboard. Although he didn't deal with these things in the company, Liang Xiao and the company's employees handled these things very well, and everything went smoothly. After the morning meeting, Charlotte carried the engineering plastic box that Ku Jia had sent to his studio, ready to modify Long Bing's gun. On the way, he called Jiang Rui, but Jiang Rui didn't answer his call. Charlotte smiled bitterly and shook his head. She really doesn't want to talk to me? Really, I didn't say anything to make her unhappy, did I? Forget it. She's like this, and she'll be fine in a few days. Several workers looked at Charlotte, pointed at him, and whispered about something. Charlotte put away his phone and said with a smile, "What are you doing?" A young man said, "Mr. Xia, we saw the video on the internet. Wow, I didn't expect your martial arts to be so powerful." A very young female worker's eyes lit up, and she said excitedly, "Mr. Xia, you look so cool when you knocked down that American in the ring. You can see it on the internet?" Charlotte was a little surprised. "Yes, it's all over the internet, and many people are searching for your name. Some people say that you are the modern Huang Fei Hong, and some say that you should go and make a movie." The young female worker's eyes continued to shine. Charlotte smiled. "I don't know how to do that. You can all go and do what you need to do." Only then did the workers disperse, and Xia Lei also entered his studio. Opening the engineering plastic box, Charlotte took out all the parts inside and the AS-50 sniper rifle and put them on the workbench. Then, he disassembled the AS-50 sniper rifle into parts, and then used the ability of his left eye to observe them and remember their sizes. His left eye was more precise than any precise measuring instrument. He needed to memorize the most precise data of each component, and then use these data to measure the components provided by Long Bing and modify them. He measured very carefully, and it took him almost an hour to measure all the parts of an AS-50 sniper rifle. Just as he was about to measure the parts provided by Long Bing, there was a knock on the door of the workshop. Charlotte's left eye twitched slightly, and the door of the studio disappeared from his left eye's sight. When he saw the person standing outside the door, he was stunned for a moment before he quickly opened the door. The one who knocked on the door was the newly appointed Minister of Security, Lu Sheng, but standing behind him was Long Bing. Long Bing was dressed in a well-ironed lady's suit. Her breasts were firm, and her buttocks were plump and perky. She was mature and sexy. However, there was no expression on her face. She was even colder than an iceberg, and no one dared to get close to her. She was indeed sexy and attractive, but Charlotte had never seen a man dare to get close to her. "Director Xia." Lu Sheng had already changed the way he addressed him. "This lady said she wanted to see you, so I asked her to wait in the reception room. I came to tell you, but she insisted on coming, so," Charlotte said, "It's okay, we know each other. Brother Sheng, you go ahead." Okay." Lu Sheng smiled and left. Charlotte still called him Brother Sheng, which made him feel very proud and naturally made him happy. Charlotte looked at Long Bing. "Why didn't you call me? I could have picked you up." Long Bing didn't say anything and went straight into Charlotte's workshop. Charlotte smiled bitterly and closed the door of the workshop. "Have you started modifying the gun?" Long Bing saw a large pile of gun parts on the workbench. Charlotte said, "I just started. Don't tell me you want it today. I can't make it for you." Long Bing said, "I don't have time for the gun. I want it whenever you finish it. I'm here today to tell you something. You have to be mentally prepared." Charlotte was curious. "You're so serious. What is it?" Long Bing was silent for a moment before saying, "Our intelligence team has received a piece of information. America already knows that we have the most advanced smart machine tool, and they also know that you're the one who built it." "This," Charlotte said in surprise. "How is that possible?" Long Bing opened her handbag and took out a stack of photos, which she handed to Charlotte. Charlotte took a look and was instantly stunned. The background of the first photo was his workshop and an unfinished smart machine tool. He then flipped through the other photos. Each photo was of his smart machine tool, and they were completed at different stages. This meant that the person who took these photos had been paying attention to his progress. Long Bing said, "These are only a part of it. There are thousands of photos. If I wanted to bring all of them, I would have to carry a big backpack. Charlotte frowned. Is it Xiang Hongbin? Long Bing said, it can't be him. He was caught before you finished the smart machine tool. He didn't have the chance to take photos of your progress. It's someone else, and he might be by your side. In an instant, many faces appeared in his mind, but Charlotte couldn't think of who would do such a thing. After a long silence, he said, give me some time. If this person is by my side, I won't be able to find him. Long Bing said lightly, actually, when we got this information, I thought we could find that person without alerting you. But we failed. We checked all the people in your company, and there was no particularly suspicious person. That's why I came to tell you about this. You have to be careful. Charlotte nodded. Is it serious? Long Bing said, there is no movement in the United States at the moment, but it's impossible for them not to deal with this kind of thing. They will definitely take action. But don't worry. Even if they know that you made the smart machine tool, they can't do anything to you. If there is an international dispute, it's a national matter. Don't worry. Charlotte was relieved. By the way, is the sniper rifle you want me to modify also related to this matter? Long Bing said, it's not related. It's just that I suffered a little from a sniper rifle when I was on a mission last time. The parts you saw were my sniper rifle. It's not difficult to make the most advanced sniper rifle today, but I've used this rifle for several years. I'm used to it, and I have feelings for it. So, I want to ask you to help me modify it. You can even make a machine tool. I believe you can definitely modify it into the world's best sniper rifle. Charlotte smiled. I thought you were going to use it on a dangerous mission. I was worried about you. So that's the case. Then I'm not in a hurry. I could do better with more time. Which mission doesn't require a gun? I'm not as free as a consultant, Long Bing said. Then, she looked at Charlotte. Let me ask you a question. Go ahead. How does it feel to be with Liang Xiao? Charlotte was stunned for a moment. Then, he said a little awkwardly, this kind of thing can't be hidden from you. But why do you ask? Long Bing said lightly, I'm just curious. I think it must be interesting for a person like you to fall in love. It's fine if you don't want to say it. Charlotte said, it's not hard to say. My feeling, how do I put it? Love is about feeling happiness and sweetness. But what I feel more is completeness. Completeness? Long Bing looked a little curious. What do you mean? Charlotte said, you know my background. My parents are no longer by my side. I only have a sister. I've always felt very lonely. You won't understand that feeling. In my heart, I've always felt that something was missing. I'm not complete. No matter how much money I earn, I can't erase this feeling. Until Xiao and my master, Liang Zhengchun, appeared. Now, I feel like I have a complete family. This is the feeling completeness. Long Bing smiled for the first time. So that's how it is. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Charlotte also smiled. Don't leave. You stay. I'll call Xiao. Let's go out for a meal. No need. This is my working hours. I don't eat or drink, Long Bing said. Charlotte didn't feel strange about her response at all. He said with a smile, suit yourself. I'll call you after the gun is modified. Long Bing walked to the door. When she reached the door, she turned back and said, by the way, your performance at the martial art conference was very good. Even Mr. Sure praised you. Charlotte said in surprise, Mr. Sure knows? Long Bing said his goddaughter told him. Well, she also took a video. Mr. Sure's goddaughter? Charlotte was confused again. Who? My colleague. I asked for her name. Charlotte wasn't satisfied with such an answer. You'll see each other in the future. After saying that, Long Bing opened the door and left. Charlotte wanted to see her out of the factory, but Long Bing actually reached out and closed the door. Obviously, she didn't want him to see her out. After Long Bing left, Charlotte was lost in thought. There were two things on his mind. One was that there was a mysterious spy around him. This made him worried. Another was that there was a person in 101 floors at the martial arts conference, and she was Mr. Sure's goddaughter. This made him confused again. Who was she? Is it her? After thinking for a long time, the appearance of Tang Yin suddenly appeared in Charlotte's mind, but he finally shook his head. The Tang sect in Sichuan is a martial arts sect. How could Tang Yin be Mr. Sure's goddaughter? What's more, Long Bing didn't mention Tang Buchuan at all. If Tang Yuyan is Mr. Shi's goddaughter, then Tang Buochuan is Mr. Shi's godson, right? He felt that it was, but he also felt that it wasn't. This kind of thing was really hard to come to a conclusion. Charlotte threw the photos left by Long Bing into the trash can and then lit a fire. A large stack of photos burned and emitted blue smoke. "Lei, it's me." Liang Xiao's voice came from outside the door. Charlotte turned to open the door. Liang Xiao saw the flame burning in the trash can. She curiously asked, "What are you burning?" Charlotte said, "Some photos." "Photos? What photos?" Liang Xiao looked at the trash can, but unfortunately, she couldn't see any of the contents. Charlotte said, "Don't ask. It's related to Long Bing. In short, be careful for a while." "What's going on?" Liang Xiao was slightly nervous. Charlotte said, "There's a spy here. I don't know who he is. You should pay more attention to it. If you find anyone suspicious, tell me. But be careful. Even if you find him, don't take any action. Just tell me. Long Bing, and I will deal with it." "I'm going to faint." It's almost like shooting a spy movie. Liang Xiao gently patted her towering chest. "Well, I'll pay attention. If I catch him, I'll tell you immediately. Be careful." Charlotte urged again and again. "Okay, I got it." Charlotte was so concerned about her. Liang Xiao's face couldn't hide her smile. "By the way, Mayor Hu Ho's secretary just called. He asked us to go to the exhibition hall to set up the booth this afternoon. The expo will begin tomorrow. If you're not busy, we can go and see now." "Well, let's go and see," Charlotte said. Liang Xiao glanced at the AS-50 sniper rifle and a lot of parts on the workbench. She just glanced at it, and then took Charlotte's hand and left the studio. Chapter 210. The venue of the exposition was the Haizhu International Convention and Exhibition Center. It was a very large multi-purpose exhibition hall, divided into 6 exhibition areas, with a total area of 30,000 square meters. The enterprises of Haizhu City gathered in the first exhibition hall, and the other exhibition halls were occupied by foreign enterprises and some foreign enterprises. There were a total of 1,600 booths, and none of them were empty. The various products and corporate cultures were dazzling and unprecedented. Hu Ho really gave Charlotte a very good booth in the direction of the first exhibition hall near the entrance. As long as someone walked into the first exhibition hall, they would see the booth at a glance. Almost all the beautiful girls of Lima Manufacturing Company gathered here, wearing sexy uniforms customized by Liang Xiao from the clothing company early in the morning. Their existence formed a scenery of its own and became the most eye-catching existence in Hall Number 1. However, there were only booths and beautiful girls, and there were no products on the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company. This strange imagination attracted the attention and discussion of many people in the same exhibition hall. What does Lima Manufacturing Company want to show? Beautiful girls? Someone said. The guy named Charlotte patted his chest in front of Mayor Hu Ho and promised that he would not let Hu Ho down. He probably thinks that Hu Ho likes beautiful girls, and Lima Manufacturing Company is probably an entertainment city enterprise, haha. Someone said sarcastically. These words fell into the ears of the female employees of Lima Manufacturing Company, and they were all very angry, staring at those people who made trouble. Guan Lingshan walked back and forth in front of the booth, looking very anxious. President Xia and Miss Liang are not here yet? The exposition is about to start, but our products have not been delivered yet. What if there's an accident? While talking, Hu Ho led a group of foreign businessmen into the first exhibition hall. Hu Ho introduced the enterprises in Haizhu City to the foreign businessmen, while walking to the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company. In fact, he didn't bring people to see Lima Manufacturing Company's booth, but Lima Manufacturing Company's booth was right next to the door. If they wanted to go inside, they had to pass by Lima Manufacturing Company's booth. Seeing Hu Ho and a large group of businessmen, Guan Lingshan's face turned pale. Mayor Hu Ho brought businessmen to visit Exhibition Hall Number 1. The first thing they saw was the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company. However, Lima Manufacturing Company had nothing but a bunch of beautiful girls. What kind of exhibition was this? Let me introduce to you a new company in Haiju City, Lima Manufacturing Company. It is, while speaking, Huho finally saw the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company clearly. The empty booth was like a slap in the face, blocking his words. Guan Lingshan braced herself and walked over. Mayor Huho interrupted Guan Lingshan. His face was also filled with anger. Where's Charlotte? Where is he? What are you doing? Our president Xia. Guan Lingshan didn't know what to say. Gu Qian walked over from the booth of Yedong Sports with a gloating smile on his face. Mayor Hu, are these women the new products of Lima Manufacturing Company? Are they robots? After that, he reached out and pinched Guan Lingshan's face. He said with a smile, they're not robots. They're real people. Guan Lingshan swept away Gu Qian's hand. Please watch your words. Our president Xia must have encountered an accident. I'll call him right away. He'll be here soon. Gu Qian said with a smile. Why call him? Does he still have the face to see Mayor Hu now? I'm afraid he's already hiding. I've said it before. How can a company that processes screws for people be qualified to participate in such an exhibition? Mayor Hu, you'd better take your business friends to our company's booth. Our automatic surfboard is an excellent product that is popular in the European and American markets. Hu Ho said to Guan Lingshan with a gloomy face, you don't have to call him. Then he said to the foreign businessman, sorry, there's a problem. Let's go somewhere else first. Yedong Sports' automatic surfboard is, at this moment, there was a sudden noise outside hall number 1. Wow, it's so beautiful. What's that? I've never seen it before. Where can I buy it? Hello, are you here to participate in the exhibition? Which hall are you in? These voices rushed over, not only interrupting Hu Ho's words, but also attracting the attention of many foreign businessmen. Hu Ho was probably the last to look back. Just as he looked back at the entrance of hall number 1, Charlotte, dressed in Adidas sportswear, skated into the exhibition hall on a skateboard. The skateboard under Charlotte's feet was shining with dazzling colors. It was moving at a moderate speed, as if he was standing on an automatic sliding rainbow. It was very dazzling. Then, behind Charlotte, a large group of young people skated into the exhibition hall on their skateboards. Some of them were circling around the businessmen, and so were doing cool and difficult moves in the open space. Their appearance suddenly ignited the atmosphere in hall number 1. Even tourists and businessmen who were preparing to go to other exhibition halls were attracted by them. Hu Ho originally had a straight face, but when he saw Charlotte and Lima Manufacturing Company's fun product, his face suddenly showed a smile, and he said to himself, this kid is full of surprises. He really didn't let me down. Gu Qian looked at Charlotte and the skateboard under his feet with a livid face. She had to admit that the skateboard under Charlotte's feet was really beautiful and very fashionable. Such a product was the easiest to win the love of young consumers, and could even set off a skateboard craze. But she also had an intuition that the skateboard under Lima Manufacturing Company's feet was an infringing product that copied the automatic surfboard of Yedong Sports. Thinking of this, Gu Qian's face became more and more gloomy. Not for anything else, but because Charlotte not only plagiarized but also did not take her seriously. He actually took such a product to participate in the expo in front of her. At this time, Charlotte skateboarded in front of Hu Ho. He gently stepped on the back of the skateboard, and the skateboard suddenly stopped. He said with a smile, sorry, there was a traffic jam on the way, so I asked my staff to skateboard over. Originally, we could have come earlier, but I thought that if we stroll around the exhibition hall, we would definitely attract a lot of merchants, so I didn't rush to come here. Instead, I strolled around the exhibition hall before coming here. Hu Ho was no longer angry in his heart. He smiled and shook hands with Charlotte. You did a good job. Hurry up and decorate the booth. I think you will definitely have a lot of gains this time. Well, okay, I will arrange it right away. Charlotte then said to the staff of Lima Manufacturing Company, do what you have to do. Hurry up. The girls and boys of Lima Manufacturing Company quickly put the exhibits on the booth, and the female staff who acted as models also went on the booth and stood next to the automatic skateboard. The product was beautiful, and so were the people. The eye-catching effect was even stronger. The businessmen who had planned to follow Hu Ho to see the automatic surfboard of Yedong Sports all flocked to the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company. Coupled with the businessmen and tourists who chased in from outside, the booth of Lima Manufacturing Company suddenly became the most lively booth in Hall 1. This was very normal. Yedong Sports surfboards were rarely sold in China, because China was a huge continental country. More than 90% of the territory was inland away from the sea. Without the sea, surfing was impossible. Who would buy an automatic surfboard? But the automatic skateboard was different. It would face all the land market. The lively scene in front of him also made Charlotte show a gratified smile. He had made the right bet. There was another commotion at the entrance. For people dressed as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entered the exhibition hall on automatic skateboards. There was Leo with 2 knives, Raphael with 2 forks, Munchie with nunchaku, and Tony with a wooden stick. However, none of them were the main characters. The main character was Chong Yi, who appeared right after them. Chong Yi, played by Liang Xiao. Liang Xiao was wearing a white ancient dress with many ribbons. As the skateboard moved, the ribbons on her body floated backward and danced slowly. Coupled with the automatic skateboard under her feet that flashed with blue fluorescence, she was really as beautiful as a fairy. Wow, you can use the skateboard like this. Some tourists stared at Liang Xiao with envy. What company is this? An animation company? Good and talented. Someone said, they sell skateboards. Let's go and see. Buy one and take a spin in the park. You'll definitely turn your head. Great equipment for picking up girls, haha. There were all kinds of comments. Many people went to the exhibition booth to ask the staff how to buy an automatic skateboard. The 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles increased the speed of their skateboards and jumped onto the exhibition booth. Suddenly, there was a burst of cheers. Liang Xiao skated towards Charlotte and circled around Charlotte. She had a smile on her face, and her eyes were full of love. It was unknown if she was imagining Xiaolei to be the canopy marshal who was drooling over her beauty. You're so beautiful. Charlotte couldn't help but praise from the bottom of his heart. Liang Xiao curled her cherry lips. Time is limited. How about I find you a set of Dong Yang's clothes so we can show it on stage? Charlotte said with a smile. Your Chong, what does it have to do with Dong Yang? That's the 7 fairies, okay? Liang Xiao said awkwardly, sorry, I went abroad a long time ago. I mixed up the 2 fairy tales. You should be playing the role of Zhu Beiji, right? Haha, you're Zhu Beiji without makeup. Charlotte pretended to be annoyed and glared at her. Liang Xiao giggled. Okay, you my Zhu Beiji, okay? Just as the two were flirting, Gu Qian suddenly walked over with a large group of Yedong Sports employees. Charlotte, Gu Qian said sternly, give me an explanation, or we'll meet in court. Xiaolei was well aware of what Gu Qian wanted to explain, but he pretended not to know. Oh, isn't this the Gu second miss? What explanation do you want me to give you? See you in court? I don't owe you money, right? Gu Qian pointed angrily at the automatic skateboard under Liang Xiao's feet. I'm talking about this. I can let you be shameless, but I didn't expect you to have the guts to plagiarize our company's product. Chapter 211. Gu Qian's loud voice immediately attracted a lot of attention and caused a lot of discussion. An employee of Yedong Sports walked to Liang Xiao with an automatic surfboard in his arms. Then he put the surfboard in her hands on the ground and compared it with the Lima Manufacturing Company's automatic skateboard. Gu Qian was furious. Did you see that? This is our company's patented product. You must give me an explanation. Charlotte smiled. Your company's patented product? I remember it's Ms. Lu Ying's patented product. How dare you talk to me like that? Hu Ho came over and said with some displeasure, what happened? Can you not quarrel today? You represent the enterprises of Haizhu City. Gu Qian said, Mayor Hu, you don't have to worry about this. I want to sue him. I want him to compensate our company's losses and immediately stop infringing our company's rights. She turned to Lin Yaru, who was standing behind her, and said, Yaru, Call our lawyer immediately. Lin Yaru also took out her mobile phone to make a phone call. While waiting for the phone to be connected, she looked at Charlotte with a gloating expression. Hu-ho looked at the automatic surfboard on the ground, and then at the automatic skateboard under Liang Xiao's feet. His brows furrowed slightly. It was true, they were all plate-shaped sports equipment. If Gu Qian insisted that Charlotte's automatic skateboard infringed her automatic surfboard, it would be really difficult to explain. Liang Xiao seemed to have guessed Hu-ho's thoughts. She walked down from a skateboard and went directly to the reception desk in front of the Lima Manufacturing Company's booth. She took out a document and then returned to Charlotte's side. At this time, Lin Yaru had finished making the phone call and was waiting for the lawyer to come. Gu Qian sneered and said, "Charlotte, I really don't know whether to say that you are smart or stupid. From the fact that you can imitate our company's patented product, you are really smart. But you ignored the law to produce this kind of infringing product and brought it here to participate in the exhibition. From his point of view, you are extremely stupid. I'm telling you, this time I'm going to make you bankrupt." Lin Yaru interrupted. "Some people don't have many books, so it's normal that they don't understand the rules of the business world." Charlotte said indifferently, "Have you said enough? If you've said enough, then scram. Don't nag in front of me. I want you to remove your infringing products immediately." Gu Qian roared at Charlotte. "Immediately." Liang Xiao sneered. "Who do you think you are? Queen or princess?" She opened the file, took out a patent certificate, and handed it to Hu-ho. "Mayor Hu, this is our company's patent certificate, and it has been approved by the State Patent Office." Hu-ho saw it clearly. It was indeed a patent certificate approved by the State Patent Office. It was written in black and white with the seal and signature of the State Patent Office. Seeing the seal and signature on the patent certificate, he immediately felt relieved and said with a smile, "Ms. Gu, don't make trouble. Lima Manufacturing Company has a patent certificate, and it has been approved by the State Patent Office. You said that Lima Manufacturing Company's skateboard infringes your company's product. You have to go to the State Patent Office to verify the situation and listen to their explanation, if they are willing to give you an explanation." This was a subtle hint. Would the State Patent Office explain anything to you, Gu Qian? Don't ask for a snub. Gu Qian also saw the patent certificate in Liang Xiao's hand. Every word on it was like a fly flying in front of her eyes, making her extremely disgusted. Liang Xiao said loudly, "Our company's automatic skateboard absolutely does not infringe Yedong Sports' product. She's just envious of our company's excellent product. Think about it. One is a product for the sea, and the other is a product for the land market. How can there be infringement between the two? Our company's automatic skateboard has 4 wheels. Does Yedong Sports' automatic surfboard have wheels? If the use of an electric device is an infringement, then aren't the electric scooters and electric cars running all over the streets infringing Yedong Sports' rights? Isn't this too overbearing?" The onlookers and businessmen were discussing again. "That's right. One is a product for surfing on the sea, and the other is a product for running on the land. How can there be infringement? Skateboards are very common and have been around for a long time, but this kind of creativity has never been seen before," a businessman said. "This long-legged woman's mouth is very sharp. She's right. If this kind of automatic skateboard infringes the rights of the automatic surfboard, then the electric scooters and electric cars running all over the streets also infringe the rights. Isn't this too overbearing?" Someone said. The public opinion was on Lima Manufacturing Company's side. Charlotte glanced at Liang Xiao. He felt that he couldn't leave this housekeeper anymore. She managed the company smoothly. She was able to argue and fight when things went wrong. She was forthright and capable that ordinary women didn't have. In his heart, Liang Xiao was too good and excellent. Gu Qian's face became more and more gloomy. She didn't expect that Charlotte also had a patent certificate and that he had applied for it at the State Patent Office. She actually knew about the existence of the State Patent Office because the patent certificate she had snatched from Lu Ying was approved by the State Patent Office. Since Charlotte could bypass the local patent office and go directly to the State Patent Office to apply for a patent, it was obvious that there was someone in the office. If you want to go to court with Charlotte, sure. I will be responsible for all the manpower and resources. I also want to see if you can afford it, or I can. Gukuwu's eyebrows immediately frowned. He could hear Shintu Tianin's determination. Her meaning was already very clear. She was willing to go to war with the Shintu and Gu families to protect Charlotte. Gu Qian said unhappily, Sister Tianin, my brother is infatuated with you. Why are you always going against him? I know you like this kid, but what's so good about him? Shinta Tianin and Liang Xiao looked at each other. The silent look was also very short. That's all I have to say. You guys do as you see fit. Shinta Tianin walked towards Charlotte. Charlotte looked at her and felt grateful in his heart. But to her, he did not need to say thank you. Shinta Tianin stopped in front of Charlotte and said lightly, if he continues to find trouble with you, you can call me at any time. I will provide you with anything you need at any time. Before Charlotte could speak, Liang Xiao interrupted and said, thank you, but we don't need it. We can solve this kind of trouble. At this moment, Charlotte was as embarrassed as he could be. He actually understood why Liang Xiao said this. Because no woman would want her man to accept such heavenly help from another woman. But in front of Shinta Tianin, he felt that she should not say such words. After all, he was a man, and a man had a man's face and dignity. Shinta Tianin looked at Liang Xiao and smiled bitterly. Well, do whatever you want. I'm leaving. Lei, come and see my dad when you have time. Gukuwu laughed and looked very happy. So that's how it is. This was a confusing sentence, but Shinta Tianin and Charlotte both understood what he meant. Gukuwu had seen that the relationship between him and Shinta Tianin was fake, and Liang Xiao was his girlfriend. For Gukuwu, Charlotte was not a real rival in love. This was indeed a good thing for him to celebrate with champagne. Shinta Tianin walked away without looking back. Not knowing why, Charlotte's heart was full of disappointment. Brother, I'll call the people from the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. Gu Qian sneered and said, Shinta Tianin wants to help, but his girlfriend has a backbone. This will be a good show to watch. Gukuwu smiled and said, let's fight. I don't believe that Tianin will go to war with my Gu family for such a kid. A person like him is not worth it. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.